listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. You're listening to Santos Bonacci live on Syncretism, here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. As above and so below is the holy science you need to know, astrotheology, because now it's our turn.
Ta-da! Welcome to Saturday night, Katie Bitchrand night, which is not so much a Bitchrand anymore. Oh my, what a time lateral shift we have done today. I can't even begin to start to describe the shift that has occurred today. Some of you are probably noticing it. More astute of you will notice it. I gotta tell you, it's just been mind-blowing. I was listening to, while I got back a little bit later than I thought to get the fire going so that I can sit back and have a fireside chat with all you guys. And, of course, the magnanimous Santos Bonacci is joining us as well. How are you, Santo?
Wonderful. Yourself?
Over the moon. What are the odds? Yep. Pretty good. So, where do I want to begin? That's the problem with these, overloading overloads that are overloading the overloads. It's constant. So I'm listening to, of course, I listen to everything as it is now, as it applies to me now, and only to me now, because everything else is illusion. It looks very real, feels very real. Yeah. You guys are pretty real, but you're still just figments of my imagination, just like I'm a figment of yours. It's kind of how it works here, and I got to tell you, the video that was shared today was Man Overboard, one of Bill Donohue's. And as I was listening through that, what I'm looking for are the confirmations of where I am at. It's not what I have to do now. It's what I'm ahead of the curve now. And I'm constantly seeing things as confirmation. Like I did a card spread last night and I went through it. And what the card spread actually did was confirm everything that I've passed through, because I look at it from the perspective of, have I solved that yet? Okay, I solved that. Now I go to the next card and I go, have I solved that yet? And I take a long, hard look at it and go, and here's the treat of it. If I haven't, I can see it immediately because I'm looking for it. Okay, so I just still need to do that. Got it? So once you have the realizations, then it's done. The contract is over, because that's how spiritual contracts work. And C can make an S sound, so it's spiritual contract, spiritual contrast. So we're going to get real anagogic on your asses tonight. So you feel like playing, Santo?
For sure. That's what I'm here for.
I know. It's great. Oh, wow. How is the weather down under? Should be warming up right now.
Great. Hot day yesterday. Really nice summer day. Today's a bit cooler, but as I've pointed out, since October, there have not been chemtrails over Melbourne skies. I watch every day. There might be one or two here and there, but that is a big shift that has gone on here. I remember the skies before October. They were just putrid, filthy.
Well, I see there's
chemtrails.
Yeah, there's the proof of your lateral time shift. I was in Elf Fountain today, and this is why I need to do a little video on this to show people how the lateral, how you move laterally to create your stairway to heaven. And it's basically building every positive upon every positive upon every positive. And so when I observe things, I observe them neutrally. Not so that they do not affect me emotionally, because as soon as something is emotional, it creates an emotional charge, which is energy. So if you can get emotionally charged into a negative energy, that's what's going to keep manifesting in your negative reality. So until you can look at something that you may not have liked from the extremely and only grateful perspective, you will continue to spiral in that linear timeline. Only those that I'm working with in my timeline are the ones that are getting to see this, where everyone else is at effect to it. Now, I did want to mention there was something about some other global settlement that's going to come through in the next day or two. Okay, it's another COINTELPRO, and it says it's only going to last a few days, and all that tells me is that game's over. Okay? I got to tell you guys, anyone that is still buying into things like global settlement, Nasara, Opt, any of these dragnet operations, that is what's going to rot your spirit. That's why they're called Karots. Okay? That is going to totally destroy you spiritually. And that's okay. If you want that, I grant your wish. I don't care what you wish for. I'm going to grant it. Because I will not trespass on your right to have an experience. And if you want that experience, that's your free will choice, and I'm going to observe it. And I'm just going to keep moving lateral on my timeline so I find a better version of you, an awakened version of you, where we all go together, right? We go together on this. We all do this together. None are left behind at all. So we have to get mindful of that. And this is why I dispel all of the negative energies that keep getting thrown at, myself, not for me, they don't come at me anymore, but for anyone that has any negative things getting thrown at them, for me, those are just the last few things that need to be dispelled within me. I'm going to be the observer, okay? They don't need to happen to me to see it. It's in my reality because I'm God, and if I was God, and I am, that's what I would do. So look at things from the perspective of, so-and-so has got an issue with this, so what is it in me that I need to fix to slide that lateral timeline? Because I got to fix it in me in order to fix that. Because that's my movie. This is how you direct a movie. And when you stay in the now, especially with Phoenician, where you create your own of Phoenician or definitions, and I want to get into vowels too, and the consonants, like consonant means with sound mind. Okay, you probably heard that in the last will and testament. Yeah. Anyway, that's what consonant means. And the thing about vowels, as Bill so aptly pointed out, a vowel is a separation from the thoughts of the human mind. That's a vowel. That's what a vowel is. So if we're dealing with vowels, every vowel can sound like every other vowel. And I can prove that in many, many words, where an A can sound like an E, can sound like a U, can sound like an O, can sound like an I. Right? And don't forget, there are 3 consonant vowels, which are W, H, and Y. Isn't it funny that it spells Y? The only question we ever asked in the beginning, there was the word. So what was the word? Well, of course, it had to be a vowel and a consonant at the same time. So there you have W, H, and Y. And you might actually see Yahweh in there as well. Just rearrange it lexicogrammatically. So for me to cast spells now, I will be removing I've already removed the spell of the vowels that were being tossed around so loosely. So now I will only deal in with sound mind, consonants. Is there another language on the planet that only uses consonants? They don't have any vowels? Maybe Hebrew? Yep. Yeah. So as above, so below. So I'll work that out with English as well. So get writing a paper on that tomorrow. Everything is happening just beautifully and according to plan. This is what happens when you accept all things. You simply accept things as being exactly what you need to get exactly to the timeline that you are so desirous of. We all want a better reality. We all want to be set free. And you cannot have vengeance and get there. I promise you. For me, it's about removing all forms of vengeance. It's about taking things. Excuse me. Let me give you an example. Now, this is where I grant wishes. You can have, door number 1 or door number 2. There's no door number 3. I don't give the third option, right? 2 strikes with me and you're out. But here it is. I am absolutely willing to grant you the wish. And the wish will be one of one side of the mirror or other. So I will grant the wish of, would you like to spend the rest of your days in jail in a linear timeline by your choice? Or would you like to move along, accept the truth for what it is, and be part of the grand awakening of humanity on the other side? You see, I will grant either. It's not my choice. I have absolute bliss either way. Because I don't have an enemy any longer, and they have the choice, the free will. That's the free will choice. Do you want to go to heaven allegorically or hell allegorically? And whatever you do allegorically will manifest itself in the physical, literal. Now, to show people how to do this, how to cast magic spells, literally, okay, and I mean this. Shit, if I'm not proof enough for you, I don't know what it's going to take. But here it is. Work it out for yourself. You'll see this for yourself. Yesterday, what was the headline in Belfast? Crown Bar shuts down. Now, Santa, when you and I were talking about this first, you took it literally. Remember we were talking about this? That the Crown Bar shut down. And that's exactly the intent that I'm thinking from. But for the mainstream people, they would take that as, in Belfast, they say, oh, the pub downtown shut down because they haven't had a license since 2011. Well, for me, I look at it allegorically and say, yeah, the Crown Bar is shut down because they haven't had a license to practice law at all anyway. But 2011 works because I would put dime donuts that license ran out during the week that I was there taking my dad's ashes home in 2011. So what we do then is we look at something literally, see it for what it is literally, but then see what it means to you allegorically according to your intent, what your game is all about. My game is about shutting down the Crown Bar and all of the slavery of mankind. That's my game. So it resonates with me at that level, just like it did with you, Santo. So that's your game too. We're on the same game page. So now that we see it allegorically as what it means to us, now we put it back out into the literal, which is what we're doing right now. Yes, the Crown Bar has shut down, and because they don't have licenses, never have. Interesting picture came up today on my Facebook. There's Obama standing at the podium in front of a bunch of people, no flags. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little time shift there, you think?
Oh, for sure.
So we're in a new lateral timeline. And for those that don't get what that means is the military flags, the slave flags have been removed. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's awesome. That's the lateral timeline. These are the sort of things we need to look for, because subliminally they have placed little signposts and little hints and glyphs and symbols there for the purpose of power and control over others. So the more you notice the opposite of these things occurring, the more you realise what's going on, and that is that it's changing. It actually is changing, manifesting so quickly that if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. This is why I say to people, I get people writing to me, "Oh, Santos, I saw one of your videos, and you were talking about how to get out of the system, and you gave a site with these links. Now, those links, rest assured, that's old stuff. Anything I've done that's on is already old, right? But it's eternally valid. But when you're talking about, some of the remedies we used to have 3 years ago, for instance, going to court, be the beneficiary, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. That's all gone. That's why I say to people, have you been listening to the latest shows on Critical Mass Radio? No, I haven't followed, blah, blah, blah. And I say, well, just, that's it. That's all I'm saying for people to do. And it's because, and that's my reply to everybody. Get on this show because things are going to be changing so quickly, and what a better way to gift your friends and loved ones and everyone with these audio files. This will be an introduction to them to know who they are. Once you know who you are, that you are the divine and identical with the divine, with God, then you will treat others as being God, and you will bring yourself into your own godship. And when everyone is God and knows that they are God, there's no such thing as government, police forces, military, and all that shit. That comes due to forgetting who you are. Those are the symptoms of forgetting who you are.
Pure and simple. And it's funny that you did the Freudian there. did watch that episode of The Simpsons, Steal This Episode, and of course I downloaded it. Anyway, you got to watch this thing. If you cannot see the allegories in it, look at Homer Simpson as humanity and how stubborn humanity has been. When you got people standing around the water cooler talking about a movie that they just watched, and they're talking about the scenes in it, Homer hasn't seen it yet, and they say to Homer, you can't stand at the cooler here because you haven't seen the movie yet, right? And then he ends up getting kicked out of the movie. And I got to say, right out in front of the Springfield Church, where the minister is using the allegory of the radioactive man, right? This is a character. Honestly, Santo, for everybody out there, I'm not sure where I got it, but anyway, it's look for The Simpsons, Steal This Episode. That's the name of the episode, Steal This Episode. And if you are not busting an allegorical gut watching this, don't worry. I'm working my ass off to get to that lateral timeline where everyone's awake anyway. I don't care about who's awake and who's asleep. It's only me that I have to deal with. And this is the power of the one within. This is what it means to be you are the one. And if but one shall awaken, the whole fucking thing wakes up. And I see it now. And I've seen it for a while, but I got to tell you, the epiphanies, I am giggling all the way. Anytime I'm in the car driving, I'm just laughing and laughing and laughing. Oh, a car passes me today. You know what his plate was? Limitless. Now, just give you another example of how things line up. I'm listening to Bill Donahue, and he's talking about the left side of the brain is a 10%. That's what you have to pay with. That's what you pay with. It was the episode. He was talking about the story of Jonah, and even Jonah was still Homer at the end of the allegory, right? So I'm going to urge everybody, and you as well, Santo, watch it's called Man Overboard. That's the Man Overboard episode from Bill Donahue. Watch that.
I heard it yesterday.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. What happened at the very end? Jonah was still wanting the literal ending. Jonah still had the dove. Jonah still wanted vengeance. See, Jonah was saved. That's an ego effect. I'm saying, look at the born-again Christians or all of these fundamental. I don't give a shit what religion you are, okay? I know that I don't think there's anyone with the religious stripe listening to this show, but anyway, look at the arrogance, the pompous arrogance, and I have met so many, and you know so many as well, Santo. As soon as somebody says, I'm a born-again Christian, I'm saved, I'm going to heaven, and I've got all my fuck shit together, and I'm this and that, and a bag of chips, and then some, and okay, fine, if that's truly the way it is, and what are you doing going out trying to make money and increase your wealth and all the rest of it? If that was true, and you are saved, then what the hell, why are you not out spreading the message? Hey, Nicodemus, it's a hypocritical viewpoint, right? So this is why, for me, I had to be allegorically and literally shredded to get this. And I'll tell you this right now, everyone out there, you're all going to go through your own form of a crucifixion. And that's the only thing that holds most people back, because in the back of your mind, you know you're going to have to in order to achieve this consciousness. There is going to be a form of crucifixion. Some is going to be greater than others. In my case, my whole life had to be shredded in the span of about 14 months. And I'm talking everything to nothing in 14 months. And I'm the one the judge bowed to. What does that tell you? Well, I'll tell you what it tells you, and this is why I have the utmost respect for those that have stood their ground, have stood in the face of it all, had their lives shredded because they were willing to pass through the fires of truth to get to the other side, to say, good, now that I got all that shit burned off me, I'm the phoenix rising from that ash. And that's what we're doing at this table. So, take whatever steps you need to take, but you better take them. If you want freedom, you haven't got a choice. You do. You can stay in the paradigm of meat stick, beat up meat stick, or you can grow up with the rest of us, because it's your job as the lighthouse for others to show them the way home. You have a greater obligation. And those that you let drown, and I'm not talking you have to go out and save them, no. You just need to be the example. Because I'll tell you this right now, when you are creating at that level, you are creating a magnetic void within you. They're going to come flocking to you anyway. That's what a lighthouse does. It attracts the ships. The ships from the minds from a distance can see it, and they can be guided by it. So that's what you need to be, just the guide. You don't go looking for others. They'll come to you. Don't worry, I assure you. They've come to me in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands. Okay? So just remember that. That's the power you wield. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make gods. Right? I'm here to empower myself through you as much as empower myself through me. We do this together, one and all and one. That's the Three Musketeers, you know? Yeah, so I need you to see how beautiful and powerful you are. You cannot have any vengeance in your mind or in your heart, because if you do, that vengeance will be brought back against you. So it's very simple. You just give the free will choice to those that wish to have that which they wish for. Like I said, and Chief, what's his name, Brian Larkin, will get his 72-hour notice. I'll give him his 3 days of darkness. I will give him the choice of, well, you know, you got 72 hours to call me, to have a talk. And if you don't do that, that's fine too, because at that point, then I will initiate a private prosecution against you, the mayor, and every cop in the city, everyone that was ever involved, all the KRMC lawyers, all the mayors of Guelph, Newmarket, Toronto, Cambridge, Hamilton. Everyone that was ever involved in coming against me will all be privately prosecuted. It only takes one or two at the beginning to make the others realize. So if it takes that to move the lateral timeline, I will do whatever needs to be done to get that done. And this is what's happening around the world right now, because we're running 100% on the victories now, because we are the witness. We are the whiteness returned. And we cannot have any blackness. We cannot have vengeance. And this is where you need to stand. And you're going to have to suck it up, because if you cannot do this, then you will keep getting dragged down into the quagmire, right? You'll still be the giggity character, okay? We don't want that. Or at least I don't. If that's what you want, great. That's not what I would do personally, but that's just me, you know. Call me God, if you will, right? So there's your choice. And all you have to do is change your mind on this, to change your intention, to finally come to terms with yourself. Yeah, I'm going to... I know these truths. I can do one of two things. I can stand in them, and it might be a little scary, or I can deny them, and I guarantee it's going to be terrifying. Choose. It's a simple choice. I choose life. I choose love. I choose eternity. I choose creation. I choose you. Won't you come along? Easy peasy.
Easy as. Easy as.
So, have we had any epiphanies, boys and girls? I've got Mike on the board, and I've got Lunchbox Fox. So, let's make this one open tonight, eh, Santo? And let's have some fun and get all the rest of the gods at the table here, talking about their allegories, about their movies, how they're seeing them, and how beautiful things are changing for all of us. So we got Mike, like I said, Mike and Lunchbox Fox. If you want to get in the call here, just hit one on your dial pad on the phone, or one on, just open the dial pad on Skype and hit one there. So does that work for you, Santo?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, hey, guys, Santo and Santo, you're more than welcome to go on tomorrow night. Christopher's got his Unfuck Yourself system tomorrow night. So I get a Sunday night off, and I'm going to take it. I got lots of writing to do, and I have a funny feeling I'll be writing my last essays here. So, whoa, this is it is getting so exponential right now. It is beyond overwhelming. There is nothing that can pull me down. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, how's a beautiful quote from the master himself, Mr. The writer of the Language Crystal book, Bill Donahue, is one of his favourites. He says, language is the science that contains all other sciences.
It sure does. It's all sound, right?
Yep, page 68 of his book there. Language is the science that contains all other sciences.
Well, math is a language. Music is a language. Words are a language?
Yeah, well, it's abracadabra. Once you reveal what the words are and show their true meaning, because the letters are particles and the words are the waves. So there's your particle and your waves. Consonants have always been the particles. And the vowels are the creators, you see. So when we speak forth, we connect our vowels with consonants, and the creative force is in there. And these particles and waves that emanate from our own selves. When you look at the word emit, backwards it is time. So, time is what we emit because we are the time emitters.
Yeah, the tie me up.
Exactly. Well, that's where E equals energy equals how does it E equals MC squared is
right.
Yeah, we're the ones that are bending the light, bending the time, because we emit it. We are time. Like, we are controllers of it. So that's a natural thing. This is why life and fire are actually the same word, because L and R, as I've ever said, are interchangeable. And so life and fire being anagrams of each other, when you realise what L and R are doing, we are the emitters of light, hence we have fire and life in us. And what did Jesus say? I am the light of the world. I am the life of the world. I am the way. No one goes to the Father except through me. Well, that's because we have to bring ourselves back to life by reigniting Agnes, igniting the fires, the mystical, spiritual fires. If you don't do that, you'll always be in the literal, burning down there in hell in the physical. Because the three bottom chakras are all physically connected, sensually connected, whereas the higher chakras in the body are spiritually connected, and the midpoint is the heart chakra. So we need to be balanced there. We need to be centered in the heart, and then we need to activate the higher chakras, but centered in the heart. And we need to get to the crown, Kronos. See, Kronos is always sitting at the top. The two malefics are always at the top. Mars is the ruler of Aries at the top, and Kronos is the ruler of the crown chakra at the top. So it turns out that Hessel's Mars, Jesus, and Saturn, Lucifer, Jesus, are our saviours. And Mars is the fire. Mars is the outer fire, Ra, and Saturn is the inner fire, El. So once we merge at the top, our Mars and our Saturn, our Ra, Mars being Ram backwards, Ra incarnated, that's the outer light, merging with the El interior light of El Saturn, both Jesus, both our saviours, because I am the light of the world. He doesn't say I'm the dark light or I am the light light. He says I am the light. Light is darkness. It's just a different degree of light. Hence, the light of the world is both Mars, Ra, Ram, and El, Saturn. Or you could take El to be Eve, EVE is ELE, or Elios, the sun, the Elohim. It's all the Elohim. But when we're talking about interior light, there is no more interior than Saturn. He doesn't do exterior. That's Jupiter, the sun, Mars, those boys. But Saturn's a different kind of boy. He's got his feminine side activated. So he's all about, inner light. And so once we balance those, we have the chakra, the crown chakra activated, well, we come back to life through fire.
Absolutely. That's the phoenix rising from the ashes of that fire. And you got to pass through it. And you're going to be the one to determine how hot that fire burns. And aren't you glad that there are others of us that went through a literal hellstorm to bring this information to the rest of our consciousness, because you matter that much. And the only thing is, I would just like to think that other points of you matter as much as you do to me. And that's all it boils down to. We must be our brother's witness. You know, people are finally getting it, and this whole thing about the witness is exactly what is killing the Admiralty Court's dead. That's why the flags are not allowed to will not be flown any longer, because they are a fictitious jurisdiction. And they are absolute proof positive of where someone is standing, okay? So we got to get out of the literal. That's the game. If you're caught in the literal, you're caught in the trap. That's the litter of the all, litter all. You know, if you want to hang out in the garbage, go ahead, knock yourself out. But if you can finally look at things that only matters to you, what is it saying only to you? Because you're the only one in this universe that is conscious. Again, I say I am just a figment of your imagination. You cannot prove that I am real. I can tell you that I am, because only from my perspective, I know I'm real, but you don't know that. I don't know that you're real, but you know you're real. And as soon as we can accept that, you're in God mode. Don't worry, you'll see it. I promise you. You will. Oh, losing my mouse here.
Aloha, Kate and Santos.
I was wondering when you were going to jump in. Hi. You're great. How am I?
Wonderful.
Right, thanks.
Hey, listening to you two, and just, wow, the truth just flows. Not much to add sometimes. You guys, you really reminded me, like, when Seven's on a roll, you know, and he's flowing. You guys have been like that for about a month. Solid.
It's not stopping now, Michael. You know that.
I know it, and it's like what Santos was saying. You want to get up to date, come to the table. You guys are ringing the bell every moment. It's beautiful. And so I just, side note, I was thinking of the word consumer, and bring it back to this, just how things are coming simpler. And there's a reason for that. Truth is simplicity. And I was just thinking about
consumer, just, you know what it is, right? With Sumeria, consumeria, with Sumeria.
So the other word I thought, assume. Like you said, is like opposite in a way. So, or with, what's when you say in front of a word?
Well, it depends on if you put spaces or not, and that's one of the big tricks that the courts like to use, because they would leave two spaces between words, so that it was never a full sentence. It was just individuated intent. So you can say assume, which means it's Sumerian, or assume with a meaning not Sumerian. So it means equal and opposite.
Exactly. And when you assume your power, you're taking it back. Mm-hmm. And so here's another trick in the word. Like you said, when you see it's equal and opposite, you realize that when you really assume your power, you're standing in your own power. You're being responsible for it again.
Yeah. Now look at the word as. You can pronounce it assume or as. There's the Isis, as. So you're a goddess creation or creator. A void to create in. You is electrical masculine intent. Me in the magnetic electric. So there are so many ways to. This is what I've been drilling this, and I did work on the Phoenician starter kit some more today. I didn't have much time to do it, but I got to tell you, you guys are going to love it, and I know many of you are already seeing this magic. And once you see it, it really, all it is the confirmation of the magic. It's like when they did the time jump and I say they, I was playing a trick on me, right? When they time jumped my mortgage documents to change the mistake they'd made on it, that was me just making sure that I'm paying on the track that I needed to in order to have my absolute heart desire of bliss and pure wowness. Okay, so these are this is why I accept all things. If you cannot, if you if you resist something, what you're doing, you're becoming the resistor to it. And that's why I talk about emotions, in that if you have any sort of an emotional charge on anything, what you're doing is you're creating a resistance to it. So you must just let it pass through you. It's like, the sun. I don't think the sun would worry about too much coming at it, It just burns out.
Well, that's interesting you bring up the sun, because I've had this kind of different view of it. And Savan has hinted at it a couple times that I've heard him. And for me, the sun is a doorway. It's a portal.
Yep.
And it's not...
We created it.
Right. And it's one of the ways we come in and go out of this Milky Way, of this solar system. And so in that regards, we're not just looking at the sun as necessarily the life giver, the heat giver, all this burning thing in the sky. We're really looking at it, how do we use this? What is it we're supposed to do with this being that we're all a part of? And
well, here's a question. Here's a question for you. Yeah, is the sun a physical effect? Of course it is. It's in the physical. We can see it, right? So that means it's past tense, and the light that comes from the sun is typically 3 to 6 minutes old, depending on where we are in relation to it. Okay? So is it a created thing? Yes, it is. So anything created is past tense, so that's part of the game grid. So what we are now are the players that see that and learning, finally, to play on the game grid properly.
And we're free to move these chess pieces wherever we want, aren't we?
Well, yeah, that's why everyone has to be the queen on the chessboard. The queen can move in any direction anytime she wants. And look what it is to be the king. The king can only move one space at a time. Yes, in every direction, but is limited to one space. The queen, however, she rules the board.
Yeah, and I'm loving when I hear you guys and other people, and just myself, what I'm tuning in with, and the clarity and the nowness of right here, what we have on our lips and our fingertips of co-creating what has been our dream, been our heart's desire. And I love how you've clarified it for us in terms of shifting. We're just shifting over laterally. It's already there. We've already created it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying about the game grid, and this is why people need to stop getting so stressed about the game grid, because the illusion is that something new is going to happen. Yeah, something we already knew, KNEW. Something new is going to happen. It was already created. You see, everything in creation is already created. Look at the natural law of energy and matter can neither be created nor destroyed, just changed from one form to another. So it is a permanent, absolutely completely permanent game grid. We made it that way. That way we would always have a playground, the one consciousness, and we're here to play. This is our imagination of the child run rampant, and it's beautiful. Once you understand that every possibility, every potential is already created, the free will choice we have as points of consciousness is to choose which one we want to play. That's the only difference.
I heard something beautiful, and it's kind of in line with this. We're having a paradigm shift, which is where our thinking is changing from, as we've shared, believing to knowing. And Santos is so eloquently, and so have you, Kate, shared with us. And, wow, we're not getting loss of words because of complexity anymore. If we come to a loss of words because it's right here and staring us in the face of yes.
Yeah, a loss of words is there's nothing left to say. There's nothing left to say, create, you see? We don't have to. That's when you hit the epiphany point. And for me, the reality is quite simple, that I will only accept things in my universe allegorically so that I can recreate them literally as it applies only to me, and I throw that intent back out into the game, and lo and behold, the game shifts. It's the stairway to heaven. So as we're moving eastward, when we're using the creative right, that's moving eastward along that lateral timeline. If you're going westward, go westward, my son. No. That's where the sun sets. I'm going where the sun rises, okay? That's kind of my game. I'm riding into the sunrise, not the sunset. So what happens there, for every positive thing that I experience, that gets built on the last positive thing, because I can choose how I want to react or not, which I typically don't do. Like the chill the other night. I mean, the first thing out of my face when he came off with that line, I'm thinking, I got to say, any shows that do want to call in, please, I already asked, be original. Be creative at least, okay? But also know that you come against this table, you're coming against your own consciousness, and sorry, that's the price of your soul. If you're willing to give up your soul for a couple of $100, then it shows you what you're worth. Not worth a whole lot to consciousness and my consciousness, so I'm just going to obliterate that anyway. So just be mindful. But what was the first thing out of my face? The guy says this really long, at least if you're going to say that to me, offer to take me out to dinner and dancing first, Because what did I come back with immediately? Your nipples are what? And he went quiet. I'm not going to give anyone the reaction they want. What, you're gonna and look at who were Heckle and Jekyll? They were two crows. That's why they call them hecklers. Can that crow create louder cause than you? So I have my own cause, and I will throw them back. Do you see the allegories how they work?
Yeah, my big reminder here is the so-called big powers that were, or however you want to describe them. And sometimes we hear the power of the planets, some gods, and we're reminded of our power being God, that it's nothing less, we're not less than any of these others. And so you keep bringing it right to the precipice for me, which is all we're in a way waiting to do is co-create a little bit more. And it shifts a little bit more. I'm not getting it clear what I'm trying to express. There's nothing holding us back, basically. Nothing.
Sorry, getting smoke in my eyes here, and I can't see the mouse. Anyway, wow, that's harsh. Anyway, the wind changed direction there just at that opportune moment. Just a big shout out to Ninja and Stala and Connor. Yep, got your message. And yep, Bindi, I know you're on the board. Thank you very much for running back up. And if you're on the board, open your mic and jump in with us. I want everyone at this table tonight, and I am not asking anymore. I am insisting, and that's joined, so it's not sisting. Okay? It's a wide open free will thing.
Hey, Keaton, Santos, and Mike. This is Tyler calling.
Hey, Tyler, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Mirror.
I'm exactly the same.
I just wanted to chime in. I always listen, but I wanted to chime in and just tell all you guys thank you and tell everyone to keep up the great work. And
promise. And
send encouragement and everything to everyone. That's my intentions.
Well, thank you, Tyler, because I'm right along with you, my friend. Right along with you.
That's for you too, there, Santos and Mike and everyone else listening.
Right on, man.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for joining too. Appreciate it very much.
You brought a friend in, Santo.
Yeah. Let's hear from Nick.
Please.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Cripes Ripper.
Can you hear me all right?
Oh, loud and clear, my friend.
Yeah, how are you, Kate?
I'm
Good.
on top of the world.
Just to know, wondering if maybe. Sorry?
I'm on top of the world, looking down at my creation, baby.
Well, I'm at the bottom of the world. I'm looking up at you guys.
Excellent. We got the mirror.
All right. Can you break down the word dictate for me?
Oh, dictate? Well, that's generally what happens if someone hasn't washed properly. They dictate terrible. Anyway, that's a bad joke. It was an old joke from what was that? The Little Rascals, butt meat. Dictate. Well, again, it depends. You got die, which is dios, and die in Latin, the phonic sound means day or daylight. Letter by letter. I'll give you the letter by letter, then I can give you a multi-layered look at it. Ready? Okay, D is the fourth letter of the alphabet, both in the Western and the Greek. So that makes it a 4. That makes it a quad. So there you have your box. And of course, in Greek, it's shown as a triangle, delta. Right? So there's your delta, the triangle inside the box, because it's in the fourth position inside of creation, which is the circle. So there's your D. That is creation itself. It is the upside-down, backward spirit breath of Rho. If you look at the Greek letter Rho, it's a P turned to the left instead of the right, and the D is the mirror upside down. Okay, so that's the mirror of the spirit breath, creation itself. Then we have the I, which is the self with the sun above. That's the higher mind and the meat stick, if you will. C is the open note of love, unconditional. Middle C on the scale, 528 hertz, note of love, which resonates with the heart. So that also coincides with Fa, the root note of all creation. That's why we have the Father, right? Which is the note of God in the mirror of the light of God. Okay. Now we get to T, which is the note of love, or the cross you get crucified on if you can't find the love. And it works both ways, equal and opposite. The A is yin. Lowercase a is a 6 reversed, which is yin in the mirror. So it is the mirror of yin, or the light made dark, the hex, if you will. What else we got? The T again, and you have the TE, which is the full spelling of the note of love. And the T, again, the crucifixion. And the E at the end of it is 9, or yang in the mirror. And isn't it interesting that when you read it backwards, you have Ita, which is the ETA, 7th letter of the Greek alphabet, which is the God number, 7, and also is shown, Ita is shown as a capital H and a lowercase n in the Western alphabet, H being the bridged Solomon's temples. The rainbow bridge is the one that goes across the duality. If you look at your brain left and right, you've got the prefrontal lobe that joins them. So that's the rainbow bridge between the hemispheres, the two worlds. What else? I can go on and on if you want, but you have a dict, and it's all literal and allegorical at the same time. Everything comes into play with me. So you have dict 8, which is dict for eternity, if you let someone dictate to you. So you have to make your own, right? And you also have, I get all phonics on this, but every letter has other letters that sound like it, so they can be interspersed within the same word. That's why every vowel can sound like every vowel. This is why you must remove the vowels, or the human thoughts, from all of your consonants and your words. Because what happens there is the vowel can be interpreted by anybody. Because I can make an A sound like an O, sound like an I, sound like an E, sound like a U, and sound like a Y, okay? It just depends on the language and the spelling and where it's used in the word to get that sound. Remember, all rules and phonics apply. So there are none anymore. All rules apply and no rules at the same time.
Yeah. That's amazing. Hey, just wondering, I don't know, can we talk about fractals and the shift we're going through? I've just got a unique perspective over to share.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to do that first? Because that's all we talk about is fractals here.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Well, I don't know. I see the whole galaxy is basically the same fractal as the whole planet here.
Yeah.
And also a tree in a smaller level.
Yeah,
so
and you. Yep.
The leaves and flowers is like the planets and the sun, and then it all just basically keeps growing. But there's always a disconnect. This is proof why there's no health, because there's only connection and disconnection. So it's like, say we're all just an apple on a tree, and then we go into, falling off the tree where the tree forsakes us. We kind of forget about it, and we don't know who our tree is. You know what I mean? Like we've exited this half of the galaxy into the the disconnect, and now we're coming back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like an apple falling from a tree. I love your allegory. An apple falling from the tree is exactly the same as a mother bird kicking a young bird out of the nest.
Yeah, and it's got to go fly for itself.
Right, and we have to see.
So can't really. There's no returning to the light unless you go through that half of the darkness. It's like, I mean, imagine drawing the Fibonacci spiral. So let's say the Big Bang happened or something, there was obviously something before that too. So that started at the 0 point, and then we're way down the line, say some 5 billion figure numbers, and then so for ease sake, we'll say we've landed at the number 8. Now we want to get to 13, but we can't get there. We need to actually draw back on ourselves so we can launch out like a slingshot. It's like the whole universe had to go into compression, and then it's just a fractal of this same kind of pattern all throughout it. So everything that our whole planet, I'd say up to right at this moment, has always been in the backwards kind of compression. It's always just been going more and more into compression. So the whole thing is just like a giant, caterpillar bursting into a butterfly. And so we're halfway through the planet's life right now. Would you agree with that?
Well, it depends.
So the planet's about to become, if it's at the end of spiraling around Sirius, then it's now come to the point where it's aligned with the galaxy. So we're about to come into the galactic day sort of thing. So that means the whole planet's going to transform. Like, literally, I mean.
Well, whatever it takes to get your literal into an allegory and back into literal is exactly what creation is all about. So for me, I just I look at everything from the me perspective, magnetic electric, and how it correlates. That's why when I mentioned about the queen on the chessboard as being the most potent of all, that's simply because the letter Q is the ovum of creation inseminated. You can see the sperm actually touching it. That is creation itself at the conception point. Now you mentioned about the depression. Well, that's the com with pre before Isis ion. Creation, in order to have something physical, must contract around it. That's why mothers have contractions to give birth. These are the contract or contrast, because a C can sound like an S. These are the contrast ions, and here it is all about contrast. What we need to do is to finally see the truth of a contrast in showing you where you are in the fractal sense of things, and then you build from that.
Well, another good fractal expression is the life of the planet can be represented in the life of just a woman. So you go through your life all this time with your eggs and stuff, and then finally one day you get pregnant. So that, say, would be maybe 300,000 years ago, or maybe just 13,000 years ago. And then the pregnancy, and then it goes into mass compression, and then all of a sudden the woman is a completely different person. She's not a girl anymore. She's now a mother. That's the next half of her life. So it's like that's the crux point that we're sitting at now, I think.
Well, that's one of the things about Comet Ison coming in. I saw that simply as a sperm, the electrical intent of the...
that's what I saw.
Right, the coming of with love in the mirror, com-et, right? And there, if you put an A at the end of it, come God, right? So that is the electrical intent that came around, inseminated the sun, and she had her, her bursts, right? And Ison's off to inseminate another sun somewhere. You see, everything for me...
So then...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Go.
Yeah, so... Well, if we're going through the tale of Ison this week, and then, like I was trying to tell Santos the other week, Terence McKenna, he doesn't talk about the 23rd of December. He talks about this week that we're about to go into now, starting now. So he talks about 384 days after the 23rd of December, which is today or tomorrow, and then a further 6 days, and then maybe a few hours or something. But if the maximum compression week seems to coincide with when we go through the tail of this comet. So, I mean, that could be it.
Well, that's the thing. What we're dealing with now is coming to the realization of the intent and manifesting it. Everything is perfect. In this time, in every timeline, everything is perfect. What we're experiencing right now is the game of games that we chose to come back to or to experience. And who knows how many times we've played this particular game, because...
Yeah, well...
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I reckon there could be heaps and heaps of timelines, all crux pointing at the moment now. So another good analogy, I reckon, would be like the life of this planet could be represented in an hourglass. So you've got like three components in the hourglass. You've got the air, you've got the sand, and you've got the gravity. So they're the three components of 666, the matter, antimatter, and dark matter. So then you've got like the sand would represent, you or the planet or humanity, and then you're falling. So it's like we're all connected, as we're all connected grains of sand at the top, but there's movement. And there's an end to this thing because the sand grains are going down through the crux. And then what happens is it just gets more and more compressed. And then, say time would be represented as you being a sand grain and the experience of going through the whole thing. And as you go through the middle, that's where everything tightens. And it's like, that's what we're in right now. And then all of a sudden, there's this freedom. And all of a sudden, the grain of sand that's falling. And there's just so many different paths. But in the end, what happens is everything always divinely forms itself into this beautiful pyramid down the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's where everything's in stability. That's when you're back to connection. That's when we're back in the light half of the cycle.
Well, what you're describing is Zeus Thunderbolt, which are essentially two opposing Ys. A vertical Y at the top, and at the bottom of the stem is the mirror upside down Y at the bottom. So that's what I call the narrow path. And you put them close enough together, it looks like just what you said, an hour or Horus glass, right? And what happens when we get it, like going through the narrows on a river, the narrows always travels much faster. And it's a lot. Well, that's the rapids. That's the rocks. That's what we've been going through. We've been going through the rapids of this Zeus's thunderbolt from the physical, moving back into the spiritual, which is the as above. So that when we get to that point where where creation opens up again, that's effectively, to me, a galactic or spiritual orgasm into new creation. And that's what we're dealing with. And this is why this ride is getting more exciting by the minute. It's like this. The orgasm. Sorry. I was going to say just one last point and carry on. Every potential and possibility exists right now. We've already created every option, every director's ending to this movie. What we do is we choose which one we want. It's the same as having infinite amounts of roller coaster rides, all with different twists and turns. We have to decide which car we're going to get into. And what I'm doing is, as I move laterally and then vertically, I see a new roller coaster and I jump over to that one because it's a better ride. And then I go up, over, jump across into another one, which is a better and bigger and higher ride. So that's the stairway to heaven for me.
Yeah, that's it. Well, another way I thought of describing the ascension of the universe would be like, say it is on the Fibonacci spiral, say the universe's progress was moving along one day and then it all landed at 8, and then it had to compress back on itself to 5. Now we're at the part where it's going to take off. So it's like, imagine that we've got to go past everything we've already done. So we're about to go sort of back to the future. So it's like we're going to first, what's some of the first things we're going to do? So, legalise all this crap that's been taken off us. That's only been taken off us in the last 50 or so years. And then as we decompress more, so everything that's been kind of hidden from us and taken away from us over the last 13 years will come back to us within a matter of, it could be months, could be a couple of years. So that means that, say, on the trip of the Fibonacci spiral, 5, so now we're compressing out of 5, so we're going to find our way 8 again, where we started. And then once we get to 8, that's like in 1,000 years from now, at, the year 3014, and then that's when we get to that 8. So that's when the ascension of the universe will happen, because now we're all together as a universe on our way back, to the new grounds of 13. You know what I mean? It could be any numbers. It could be like a zillion going back to a trillion or something.
I take the linear aspect out of it completely, because that moment you speak of is right now. But it's not linear. It's just a way of placing it, because back from it. I realize that. Here's one of the reasons why I nitpick on this one thing, because it takes people out of the now. It takes them into a linear sense of 1,000 years from now, and it seems distant. When what happens there? I don't see it that way. Well, no, I understand.
It'll be like a matter of months. Because
you see, I won't agree with that. That's the spiritual contract I can't agree with, because everything happens right now. It's my choice to get to it. That's all. So if you want to put your reality off for a while, go ahead. My reality is right now. And that's what I really want to drive home with people, because that's where you create in the fractal. I want God's back. And when you get right where I'm sitting, and there's quite a few people there now, you get it. And it's now just a matter of empowering yourself continuously up on higher rides over and over and over. So I don't deal in 1,000 years from now. Oh, here, one sec. I won't be able to eat it. Not right now. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Another way of describing how to step out of the time thing, you just look at this planet like a bookshelf. I mean, you look at the whole universe like a bookshelf, and you just pick which story you want, and then you can just choose which page you want. So, I think what I'm trying to say is just some kind of a hidden one of everything that's happening in the universe. If this planet is the compression of everything in the universe, then there should be so much more that we can see here that correlates to out there that we still haven't picked up on.
Well, again, I've used the book analogy in the past. It's a beautiful analogy. It's like we have the infinite library of the universe. We just have to choose which book we want to read right now. And I only read right now. Everything that I see, we're talking right now. I can read the Bible, and it matters right now. I can read Black's Law, it matters right now. When I do a card spread, it's what matters right now because I accept all things as created and perfect. Oops.
G'day right now.
Hey, Bindi, how are you?
Hello. Thought I'd just hook in because, I've been listening very carefully, and pretty much the new song I wrote hinges on nearly most of the stuff you've been talking about. And I was wondering if you, for those that can hear it, it's a roadmap of sorts. So if anybody feels like a song, I'll share it.
Gods don't need permission. Rock and roll.
Okay. No, I'm just I'm into sharing. Okay, this is called, I sing a song of the black of light. Staring at the deep night sky, a cheeky trace of Anubis in my eye, and Fibonacci for companionship. A wave of ultraviolet opens the prism, and 6 to the infinite of colors follow in. Vortexes meld with at least 3 of my 5 senses. Coming from a long line of soothsayers and sages, ancestors stand on Snowdon Hill watching over me. I seldom speak of this alchemical sojourn, passed on by word of mouth. The net result of Inquisition's flames still stamp freshly on DNA. A bitch of a challenge for the current bard of the Longhouse, you might say. My feet dangle in the cool of a river, and Mother's moist soil holds my frame in gentle repose. My flesh to your flesh, my blood to your blood, and the iron in my veins pulses ever slower to her steady grinding beat. My heart to your heart, and strings of energy to and from my heart connect to the animal kingdom. An excited ruffle under the emerald canopy exhilarates every nerve ending. Whispered messages of love and a heart-stopping welcome spirals in, and I answer in kind. The hourglass figure of Lady Time leans heavily. My lids close, nearly, to a relaxed peering, and the hour of the wolf draws near, a wild and infrared. Echoes of vermilion to cadmium flash like a magic lantern. Heat, fire, forging vision bridges across Plato's playthings like octahedron and its fellow wanderers. My mind to your mind, from root to crown, every fibre awakens in symphony with the heart. Flashing from cerulean through ultramarine, all sense of singularity drops away, and I know who I am. Floating in a diamond I am. There are no limits. Language collapses around me into senseless junk like broken cups, too unimaginative to hold the love there, shining brighter than a million suns.
Works for me.
Yep.
Right on. I gotta tell you guys, I really don't even feel like talking much tonight. I'm just more inclined to sit back and let everyone go here because, wow.
You know, kid, I look at the pressure we sometimes feel, that squeezing energy, that compression. In one way, it's imagine Gaia giving birth. She's squeezing you out. And part of this squeezing is so you don't go back and do these old steps that we've already finished. So we don't keep repeating prior mistakes. And that's like making sure we climb our stairway to heaven. And if you're not freely flowing with it, you're going to feel a little bit more compression maybe. But I'm hopefully sliding right out, laughing and dancing, and
yeah, it's like squeezing the proverbial zit. It's gonna pop. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You know, you got to decide whether how much resistance as the zit of the universe on the arse of the universe you're going to be, or are you just kind of is it going to take an incredible amount of pain and pressure to squeeze you out, or are you kind of going to go with the flow of things and just kind of go whoosh, out you go?
I found something else that's like the irony behind the build-up of it. It's like you've got three kinds of people. You've got the willfully ignorant people, the people that have heard about all these apparent conspiracies and things that have got to do with reality, and they've willfully rejected it. And then you've got the other kind of people that are like, they just don't know. They're just completely dark, bad education, whatever. And then you've got the people who care. So all the willfully ignorant people, once they hear one big fat kind of story come out in the news, they're going to have the most really shocking awakening. They already know all this stuff, and it's all of a sudden going to occur to them at a click. So when the awakening happens, it's really like a sun hitting the horizon, coming up in the morning. It's just going to basically just shatter all the darkness. So there's going to be waking up in droves. It'll be like all these people will just overnight, you know what I mean? Whereas for people like us, it's been sort of a slow, gradual thing. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, look, just to add to that, I mean, there's people out there who feel that the changes physically are going to be literally happening. For instance, the scriptures talk about the earth being consumed and destroyed by fire. Well, this is life fire, consciousness. So what is happening is the earth or the world, governments, politics, economy, and all of that stuff is going to be destroyed by fire, which will be physical, which will be spiritual, mystical fire. And so what's happening now is this fire is coming in fulfillment of prophecy that Joel, in the book of the prophets, Joel said that your children will dream dreams and have visions, and Holy Spirit will be poured out amongst them. Look at the word spirit and you'll find what's going on, because inside there you'll find the word for fire. P-I-R is the same as P-Y-R, pir, pyromaniac, pyramid, purgatory, purge, purify, all those fire words. So Holy Spirit descending from heaven is exactly the same as saying fire descending from heaven, a spiral fire, spirit, fire. And so what we are doing is being baptized in this Aquarian fire. Hence, John the Baptist says to his followers, I baptize with water, but the one coming shall baptize in spirit and fire. Same thing, really. But spirit is pertaining to the mind. So it's a mental, it's a spiritual air and fire baptism that we are having. No longer water, the psychic, illusory water element. We are now into the fire. So the destruction that is coming upon folks is the destruction of their false illusions of Rome. And so just exactly what you said there, brother, it's true. There will be a massive awakening. Very, very few, I believe, will have to, suffer anything which we would call evil, having to reincarnate, and because very, very few are that evil that they've gone beyond the point, which is possible. You can go beyond the point of, salvage, and that's willful.
Well, hang on, sorry.
I'm done. Yeah, but what I'm saying is.
Oh, sorry. Just add to that. Yeah.
There'll be a great
another
salvation.
Thing,
Yeah, I did a game show. Want to play a little game show? It's called Truth and Freedom or Slavery and Mind Control. It's got to be that clear to everybody. And to give up slavery and mind control is just to look at it and it's gone.
Santos, what you were saying before about the trees, trees being burnt up. In the Bible there, it says a third of the trees will be burnt up. I think that's already happened, because if you look around, I mean, a third of the planet looks like a concrete jungle, if you haven't noticed. So I think the Christians, the literal Christians, are waiting for, the world to be set on fire. Have you heard this one?
Oh, yeah, I used to preach that as a Jehovah's Witness. Well, no, in fact, they took it. Funny about this, the Jehovah's Witnesses take that symbolically, allegorically. Is interesting, isn't it? Oh no, Jehovah's gonna destroy the world with fire, but that's spiritual fire. So they get, they do actually get things right, because you can't avoid it. You cannot avoid the metaphor in Scripture, so they can't escape that. But yeah, there are literalists who think that.
But in that particular one, that I think that one kind of was literal, because if you have a look around, a third of the trees have been burnt up. Back in the old days, maybe they didn't have axes, and they thought that to get a tree down, you had to burn it.
Oh, look, you can
find
find the literal in every allegory. You can find the literal in every scripture, and you are supposed to. You are required to. In fact, the priests first were to teach that, because that is the earthy, Malkuth, pivotal, foundational teaching of all things, the literal. Like the Apostle Paul said, hey, I can't talk to you about allegory because you're babes in the Christ drinking the milk, You haven't built a foundation on the Christ. You're still on the foundationary doctrines. Yeah, well, everybody has that, That's the literal, We learn to ride a bike with 3 wheels. So you put training wheels on little kids and you told them that Jesus is a man. And he's got compassion, and he's loving, and he's a creator, and he's loved the world, etc., etc. And then you tell the children when they grow up, you're supposed to adapt now, and you're supposed to lift the game and teach them the symbolism behind all of this, and teach them, the true meaning, so that you've got the literal foundation. Nothing wrong with the literal, if you are a unity thinker, because then you'll realize that the literal, which is the opposite of the spiritual, both complement each other, but the causal is the true nature of things in the evolution of this universe. Look at the word evolution. It begins with love backwards. So the whole system runs on evolving. Evolve. Stop at evol. And you've got love. And so love is the primary force of the universe, light. And it is evolving. But if you're going to be a Darwinist, well, then you're going to take it from the material perspective. And you'll never understand the causal effects of evolution. You'll never understand how it works, that everything is evolving, but from the causal spiritual planes.
Yeah, that's it. Another way to sort of, I reckon, understand why the light has always got one up over the dark, like, you could say, well, because we live on the material world, you'd say that matter would represent, the dark side, and then the antimatter could represent, the light, or, what you see through the third eye. So if you notice in any room you go to, there's always more antimatter than there is matter, because it's always going to have to overdo it. Otherwise, you're in a cramped room and there's no point in being in there, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, that's just how I see it anyway.
Yeah, well, I would call that magnetism as compared to electricity, because the electrical world is just a minute part of the causal, invisible, magnetic world. So antimatter, I would see that as units of magnetic power that are everywhere in the universe. It's omnipresent, and it first manifests itself as a hydrogen toroidal field, and from that, hydrogen attracts all the other vibrations to it to build molecules and matter, mother, in other words. But the smallest of all the toroidal fields would be hydrogen, and that's the whole universe. Is basically, that's the plasma of the universe. It's 70% hydrogen. So, and Hydro is Hydra, the serpent. Therefore, we all come from the serpent. We are feathered serpents. And those trees that you are talking about is exactly our tree, which has its roots in the heart, the core, the ker. Like just an apple has an apple core, an apple heart, and it is a toroidal field. We also have this beautiful vortex. There's nothing that exists outside of a vortex. A hydrogen atom is a vortex. Our sun is a vortex. In fact, its vortex is called the master. It is our master.
That's why you've got these scientists called God tetragrammaton.
Well, yeah, tetragrammaton is the same as tetrahedron.
Isn't tetragrammaton the other name for it? Yeah, tetrahedron.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you said it right. I've shown this before. The tetragrammaton is the tetrahedron. You cannot separate those two. That's it. Once you understand this great secret, you will understand how to, do syncretism, which I can see you're already doing.
Yeah. So, tetragrammaton. Okay. Well, we have a gramophone, right? Which, of course, gramma is sound, that's why we have grammar, right? Programmer. Tetra. Well, we can go with the love of the Trinity of the yin and the mirror. With sound, gramma. With sound, tone, and it's all sound. Everything comes back to the phonics. Everything. Numbers.
Hey, can you break down romantic? Why has romantic got Rome at the front of it?
Ro, spirit breath, mother of creation. Roma, right? And you have man is feminine, which is mother of creation, mine. And you can have T, love I see, or tick. It can be like a really nasty thing too. It has to be both things. And what polarizes people the most is their indoctrination into a thing called you talked about dictate earlier. Well, how about a dict ion Aries, which is a pretty much fucked ion, and you're Aries god of war, not Aries the ram. Because I can assume and presume anything through sound. You can give me a sound and I'll spell it any way I want. And that's what's happened. We've been pigeonholed into spelling words a certain way that contain a certain spell. So to break that spell, all you need to do is get the concept that I can use any letter, any sound in replacement of any spelling to get the sound that I want. It's like the alphabet. You've got A, which backwards is ya, ya. B, which is eb. Right? I'm going to go through the whole alphabet. I was thinking about that on the way back here today, and mirroring the sounds to see which ones are the most potent. And I already know what they are. That'll be the owls.
Really? Well, if you turn Rome around, you have
Amor, love.
So, yeah, that one's too obvious.
Well, you need to, yeah, look at the Italian word for Rome, and that'll settle it once and for all. Roma, and just put that in the mirror.
Yeah. See, if we have Roma, what we have there is the spirit breath, mother of creation in the mirror. Okay, or if we go Romi, that's spirit breath of the magnetic electric. If we are part of the system, that's where we're putting all of our magnetic electric creation ability. And like someone, I on occasion I get people to post, well, we need this many signatures on this petite ion. I think they call it petition. Or yeah, it's a joke. Everyone's missing the cosmic joke here, right? But here's what a petition actually says. It says, I am absolutely divided and conquered against myself, where I think I need other voices to have the major ati, the majority. No, you are the majority. You are the majority of one.
It's like asking yourself permission.
Yeah, well, that's what. Hey guys. Well, we have to put our legal dead name signatures because we don't know who we are on this petition, so we power the system to destroy us even further. Are you in? Sure. No. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? This is the difference between legal and lawful. I only deal in universal natural law. So if it doesn't work in nature, I would like to see the legal system, appeal the law of gravity to see if we start flying, the dopes. That's the same reasoning that says that a plant somehow is illegal, dopes. So again, you defy nature. Don't worry, Mother Nature. Would you remember I think it was the Del Monte commercials? It's not nice to fool Mother Nature, and she always came back with a thunderbolt. Well, there she is right now with a thunderbolt. Stand in truth or deny it. Either way, you're going to go through your master number of the catch-22, damned if you do and damned if you don't. but you're also resurrected if you do and resurrected if you don't. So there's going to be a crucifixion. The level of crucifixion you go through is the one you choose by either standing in or denying truth. You're going to go through it. So you got on the roller coaster. You're going down that first big hill. Now, if you want the big monster roller coaster, that's the one I picked. Idiot, but it was good. It was good. Anyway, that was the one I picked. Or you can pick the baby one, and you have the options.
Bring your own puke bucket.
Yeah, bring your own puke bucket. Me, I just go over the side and go, there we go. That's all good.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate, can you tell me much about the word, the sound PH? Like, why is it telephone, as opposed to telepathic? Is it somebody's phony, somebody's, that PH, it's like a silent F. Why pharmacies over in non-Western countries spelt with an F?
Okay.
Over here it's PH, something's cheeky there. I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, no, it's pretty straightforward. We all have to have our own pH balance, yeah? So what it's doing is the pH by the Phoenician rules makes an F sound. An F can also be pronounced as an S because you go back in, you can't say back in history, but if you look in the moment of now history, like the Constitution used to be spelled with what looked like an F, not an S. So the F used to be, or the S sound used to be an F shape. And of course, F is Fa, which is the root note of all creation. So it's all about the sounds. That's why they have pharmacy, right? That's, P I always see as Peter or Jupiter. Not always. There's a lot of layers there, but let's have a look at it. This is the harming of the spirit. Psi, C-Y, is spirit. Psi. Why we sign my spirit. That's why we sign everything. It goes on and on and on. Oh, did I lose everybody here? Did we get bumped? Let me just check. Looks like
I'm on.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah.
Still here.
Yep, there we go. Just got area code 905 chiming in here, and by all means, guys, we got 35 minutes. Do you want to roll over to the end of the recording, guys, or?
Sure.
As is, Kate. We'll see.
Okay. We'll just play it by ear. I'll do the shout out now because we're about just a little over half an hour to the end of the airing portion of the show into the recording. So for those that do want to jump in and get aboard, there's room on the board. You can call in at 661-467-2401. That's the landline number. And you can also Skype in from the Blog Talk page. If the Skype button isn't there, just refresh the page and call in via Skype. Once you're on the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on your phone or open the dial, then Skype, and hit 1 there. And I'll do the shout-out now as well for, Paul Giovanni. What a creation of criticalmassradio.co.uk. Look what Paul did. He gave us our movie, our parental guidance, and that's why we had to become the parents in this and bring home, we must suffer unto us the lambs, the children. And we already know who the children are. They're the ones wearing the lamb wool wigs and the black robes, which makes them the black sheep in our family. So we got to bring them home, right? We've been the black sheep, remember? Now we're the white sheep.
That's what you get for talking truth porn all the time. You need a PG, right?
Oh, exactly. So thank you, Paul Giovanni at criticalmassradio.co.uk. Thanks to everyone that's been chipping in. It's a monster fee if you want to subscribe of a whole £1 per month, which is about $1.50, $1.65 kind of thing. Thank you guys for that. And it ranges from £1, £2, or £3, and you can also donate. So please, I'll tell you this right now. Every penny that you toss towards the table, you are throwing an intent of destruction against the old paradigm. And that's not about destroying the world. It's about reinventing it in our own image. And God made man in our image, after our likeness. So how about we get on to the our likeness that we prefer, shall we? So anyway, that's how you can change your intent in that way, and it's peanuts if you ask me. I'm still at £10 a month. Go ahead, Michael.
A quid's only $1.69.
Okay, so $1.70. It's going to cost you a coffee a month. If you can handle that, great.
Anyways, well, we still have this monopoly money. Why don't we share it where it's good? Yeah, while we're still playing with this monopoly money, share it where it can really support us, what we're doing here at the table.
Use it to take down the system where you never have to deal with money again. You don't have to worry about bills. Oh, and here's something for baby steps for people, and it's quite simple. Maybe you can expand on this, Santo. People talk to me about, well, how do I not pay my electric bill or my gas bill or my water bill or this, that, and the other? Well, if you can't handle just standing on your own 2 feet and knowing who you are, well, then go by the contract. As long as you are making an intent to pay $bucks towards a $200 bill, you are still in honor for making the attempt. So just start doing that. Start saving up some money. And they can't turn anything off while you're making the effort. And you can talk to an ombudsman about that if you have any problems. Yes or no, Santo? You there, Santo?
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose him? 1 sec. Let me just double check the Skype here. Gets a bit iffy. No. Santo, are you there?
Be there, yeah.
Maybe he muted himself and forgot. Hey, because this is a good intro. I want to what I wanted to bring up. They say that, and this is research and studies, that 90% of all communication is nonverbal communication.
Yep.
That's not much to figure out. We're already doing it.
No, it's not. Exactly. It's not much to figure out.
As soon as you start thinking about it, it becomes verbal again, so don't think.
Exactly. Just do. Yeah, for me, guys, I'm probably only good for about another half hour. It's just I am absolutely exhausted. I need to shut this super overload brain right now.
Anybody else? Go.
I watched Mark Passio's Natural Law.
Isn't he great? I love Mark.
In 3 parts. And he has a download of all the slides he put up there. And I was just like, oh, helpful. And he's like, use them. Take them. This is like you about copyright.
Oh, yeah, we don't have copies. We're all original here, baby.
His moral, which is his great way. Morals are when you line up with the nature. When you're in harmony with nature, your morals are in tune. And so it's kind of like our
morals.
Right. To get this out there, to share it. And, I'm up for putting that into a synopsis and sharing that with the table one of these moments. Because I listen to it, and he shares it quite simple. He puts it really clear, and there's a few things that he says in there that just really, like, for example, how did a street punk kid from Philadelphia be teaching simple truths that I thought everyone knew? And it's not like we don't know them. It's just we all need a refresher course of the simple truth, which is the heart of all of this.
And, that's the hardest thing for any ego to accept, the simplicity. So, again, I'm going to reiterate this for everybody. If you want to start performing real magic, then you got your intention, your concept, you're with God, you bring it home, and you effectively destroy all previous notions. And you do this in an instant. This is a twinkling of an eye. You destroy all previous contracts that you went into agreement with, and I don't care what they are. You eliminate them all. So look at the game from only your perspective. Don't be distracted by friends, family, fear porn, media, any of this stuff. If it gives you an emotional charge, then you're at effect to someone else's cause. See what that is and nullify it immediately. As soon as you get into the empty void, this is what the story of Jonah was all about. He had to be thrown out of the mind, the ship, thrown into the truth of water, and basically into the nothingness, so that he could clear his mind. He still missed the whole point of it at the end of it, but it doesn't matter. It was a beautiful contrast allegory. So if you want to be the master magician of your game, it's as simple as looking, like I said earlier, for me, my whole game is about taking down the crown, the legal system, all of the stuff that is enslaving humanity, crimes against humanity in this literal game that we have here. So that anything that I see that is in that field of my view, that's my only point of view. What I do then is I see how what I'm seeing in the now is being reflected. So, like I said yesterday, Crown Bar shut down was the headline on the Belfast Telegraph newspaper. So for anyone else, it would just be a pub that was shut down. Okay. For me, I'm looking at it from the good. If I was to take that literally for what it meant, then it's just a pub. But for me, in my game, it means that the Crown Bar is shut down because their license was not in place. We got some background noise, guys, please. Thanks. Doing my best to stay on this. Okay, so if you read it literally, you stay literal. So what I do is I bring it home to me as to what it means to me, allegorically, in my game, and then I recreate it in the literal with my intent. So I mirror the spell. Is that clear? Is that floating on the boat there? Okay.
Sure is. And that's why this truth is. It's just really just makes it clearer and clearer for you. It's kind of like I'll just say like a magnet. You tune into a little bit, and that's what I was sharing with when you look at the tree. Just go outside and look at a tree. And if you don't have a tree, close your eyes and try and imagine one. As soon as you basically can do this, you're connecting to the truth, and this just starts exponentially growing, flowing, being shared.
Yeah, it's where the tree of life, you can put a silent H in there, and it becomes the tree of life. That is creation itself. That's what the allegory of the tree is. It is Zeus's thunderbolt. It has, it receives nourishment from the light, as above, and it receives nourishment from dark in the roots, the branches, as below. Both, and you cannot have a tree without both working together. A tree is the perfect. Everything in nature is a perfect singularity. We just got a little busy in the left brain is all. That's all.
So that's very interesting. And the reason for my call was actually kind of about the laws of nature and things that are literally appearing here on Earth and how we're moving spiritually and cosmically. What I actually came with questions tonight. Now, I've noticed, I think on the 6th, I believe, of this month, and that's funny that number comes up because that was going to come up. I'm questioning the number 2, 6, and 8 at this time because of the little calves that were born with 2 heads in Morocco, and then the whale calves that turned up on the coast of Mexico. And then the other night you were talking, and this is my first time catching up with you live, so it's nice to talk with you guys.
Well, who have we got? Who have we got lawfully speaking tonight?
I'm Linda, and I'm over here in Hamilton.
Hey, I saw the 905, and by the way, Linda, that's probably the first time you've ever heard your name spoken lawfully, knowing that you are a living witness to humanity and all things. Thank you for showing.
Yes, exactly. So, on this journey, of course, I'm feeling new and I'm unraveling, and I'm trying to learn and catch up with all this information that has happened. But I keep coming across these 2 heads, and then the other day I was listening to you on YouTube, and you were talking about you were waiting for your twin flame, and then all of a sudden I looked around the house, and my husband had brought home an angel for my daughter that he found, but it was a double angel stuck together. So I'm wondering, what's going
beautiful
on
allegory.
Here?
Well, that's that.
So I'm trying to figure this out.
Well, that is showing the duality is becoming the singularity, and it's being manifest in the physical as something with 2 heads, right? It's like the giant in Jack the Giant Slayer. Everything is a duality, but the king of the giants, if you will, had 2 heads, and one was a dopey left brain, and the other was the creative right brain, and it was using its power wrong.
Oh, yes. And, when I'm looking, I actually have this angel in my hand right now, and I'm looking. I was trying to figure it out because there's just so much around us and in so many ways. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Well, on the angel, one is happy, one is sad, one's dress is got a slit up the top, and one is solid. So I was like looking at all this stuff. And then I was also looking at numbers. Two for like the two heads, of course, and then the unity. And of course, I can understand the duality within our brain, and yet they're connected at the same time, and same with us in the universe. And then the number 8 has been popping up in my family for generations, and it was actually my dad's question, who's no longer here, but it's still his question. But then, what happened the other night? I'm trying to remember. Somehow, and then with my last, so all the boys in my family are all born on the 8th. Until my last child, he was a boy, and everybody was waiting for him to be born on the 8th, and I said, no, I was going to break this cycle. You're going to be born on the 9th, and he was.
Hey, finally, we went from the octave to the consciousness being born. Thank you for the allegory. Beautiful. Keep going.
Is that okay? I don't even know what's happening here. I'm just trying to look at it and say, whoa, I know something's going on. But then I went looking, and I found, I was getting inspired by music and stuff like that. But I looked at a logo at the bottom of somebody's web page, and it was 2 leaves, one facing up and to the right, and one at the bottom, and I think it's leaf, like a reflection, would have been flipped upside down. And then if you go around it, it made the 8, and then I seen the 9 fit in it. Anyways, okay, I was just calling about that.
Okay, do you remember the infamous Canadian penny?
Yes.
Right? It has 2 maple leaves on it, does it not?
Yes.
Okay, so are we still using the penny anymore? No?
Well,
so
they're not being used.
Right. So that means that the duality is over. We don't need it. It went singular. So, and when you go at it allegorically, it's a sent or say, which is himself, herself, itself, and makes it mine with love. So the crucifixion of the money in that aspect has been destroyed. So that's what I see it as. But I look at everything allegorically.
Yes, and I'm still learning. Learning and transforming all at the same time, and same with my husband. I'm sure you'll meet with him, or he'll come in and join on the conversation one of these days.
We're all remembering together, hon. We're all remembering together, and that's the joy and beauty of this. You're a superstar in my movie, as hopefully I am in yours. This is how I play my movie. Everyone is a superstar. I am your co-creation. Everything in my existence is you co-creating me. You see? So
absolutely,
thank you.
And I've got that, and I thank you for that, because we've been sharing it and doing the exact same thing within our lives and interactions as well.
Well, I like to ask people, how do you like you now? You see?
Oh, I love me.
Right. See, I get to be that beautiful white solar mirror reflection, and that's my game. I have taken all of my zodiacs, everything I can think of to figure me out, find my roadmap, and lo and behold, everything factors in. 100%. Perfect. Yeah. So for me to see the magic, it's so easy because I've lived in it for the last couple of years. More so in the last year and a half. I went through my own personal hell, and like I said earlier, there's going to be a 72-hour notice that I'll be putting together tomorrow for the chief of police in Guelph, and he's going to have a choice to make. And I'm Pontius Pilate, washing my hands of it. I hand it back to the universe. Right? I want these people. Well, I want these people to awaken. I don't want to beat up 5-year-old retarded children.
No.
But if they want to beat themselves up, then you know what? There's the electrical outlet. I told you, you're going to get zapped. If you don't want to listen, that's fine. Then go stick your tongue in it. I told you. You know?
Yeah. And my husband's really brave that way because we see so much stuff going on in Hamilton and trying to figure out, well, how do you get across to the I don't want to call them authorities anymore because they're not authorities, but to these people who take up these positions to enforce these dead laws on living people.
Well, that's the thing is we know we're living now, Linda. So this is a new game, and it is changing exponentially by the minute.
It is. It is, and I feel like we've already entered this new world. I believe we have, because I can feel it, I can see it, and not to frighten anybody, but
not at this table.
but I look around and I can see the pieces falling apart for the industrial world, anyways.
Good.
And so, it's just a matter of learning now to live in this new world, this new way, and where are we going, and what are we doing, and where is our truth, and the removal of the lies and the illusions.
Well, you're the lighthouse. This is what I tell everyone that's at this table. You're at this table not because you're here to learn, but because you know you're the lighthouses for the paradigm shift that others will come to for guidance. This is why we must find the peace within ourselves to be that stable, on-the-rock lighthouse to guide the minds, the ships home. And that's what we're going to be doing. That's the new game.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Mirror, mirror. I know you were, because you're me and I'm you, and I get it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, we are amazing.
Of course, my husband's in the background asking me to ask, but I want him to ask.
What's your hubby's name?
His name is Rick.
Hey, first great. Time. Well, Rick, get your awful ass on the phone.
Here.
Yeah.
Good day to you.
Hey, Rick,
so what do you think of this? I'm well, and yourself?
Good. We're having.
So it's a lot of beautiful things. It's a lot of beautiful things that's going together in our thoughts, eh?
That's what we need to do. We get a grip on our emotions, we get a grip on our reality, and then the divine feminine right just downloads the new timelines, and we slide on the ice to the right. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And consciously speaking, right? Because we're all conscious, right? When I don't know, I've always had ringing in my ears and wondering what it is, and I just think it's a frequency of some kind. Because sometimes I go in certain places and it rings like crazy, and other times it's just quiet.
Oh, it's just you. That's just you talking to yourself. It's all good. I mean, it's for me when I get those, that is a lateral time slide. So when you get that. We've had all sorts of literal translations of that idea that it's the moon, it's this, it's that, the other. That's all physical effect. So when you take everything from you're causing everything in your universe, which you are, because you're God. I know you are. These are just the confirmations. It's like I was saying, I think last night about the numbers. Remember the numbers used to pop up all the time, 11 and stuff like that. Well,
numbers go through my head all the time.
Right. So have a look around. There's probably, for me, I look for certain numbers. 115. Anytime I see 115, that is a lateral time shift confirmation. That just lets me know that I've shifted. So I create my own slide points. I'm God. I can do that, and I can put the intent there that is my time slide.
Just like that.
Just like that. You're God. We thought this into existence. What makes you think we can't think? We thought of everything anyway because every reality is there. We're just playing. This is a video game that we are the players on. The grid's there. We built it. We put it there permanently so we can play this game. And it shape shifts. It goes fractal. And listen, we created this universe with one word. Imagine what we could do with a couple or a sentence, for crying out loud.
How about some that we understand?
Oh yeah, God stand indeed. So I'm standing. So are you. So is everybody. It's a beautiful thing.
We are moving ahead, and it's beautiful to see, and I'm sure I'll be calling you when I can get my brain organized again.
Okay, well, you know how to... I think I'm not that hard to find. You know, I noticed that today when my friend Marion Aaron was Googling. I said, well, Google this, and it came up first on the Google search. So I'm thinking, I guess I've got a bit of an impact there. Okay, good. You know, seriously, Google Kate... and then hit space and see if of Gaia comes up and see how quick it comes up. That means that that's a top search engine to look for. So that's how I know the consciousness is awakening. Never mind the points of consciousness coming to this table and coming to Facebook and Skype and everything. The consciousness is coming in droves. It's not about me. I'm the star of my movie. Of course it's about me from my perspective, but I'm the superstar in your movie because you want this mouthy tranny on the air getting judged about her and all this other stuff as part of your script. Good job. Nice writing. I'm in.
Absolutely. So tell me, is there a difference if you think it or you do it?
Well, the thing is, everything is a thought. Everything is contrast and contract at the instant of the thought inception. This is why you got to get a grip on your thinking, because every thought is a wish. Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. My dad used to always tell me, it's in your mind, it's in your mind. And once you put it in your mind, it's anywhere.
Exactly, because you are the universe. You're God. You're the only point of consciousness that you can prove. You can look at Linda and say, I can see you there, I can feel you there, and everything's great, but you can't prove her consciousness. You can have a conversation with one of the characters in your movie, just like I'm having a conversation with all of the other characters in my movie, but I cannot prove that you exist. From a consciousness viewpoint. The only consciousness I know is me. And that's what I want everyone to start realizing, that the only point of consciousness is you, and that you are God. That's what Jesus and the rest, or Jehovah, if you want to say the name right, and all the rest of the teachers were trying to say. But of course, their words got skewed. Religion said, well, we can fill our pockets if we sell the literal story, and look at all... And look at the droves of people, burning people at the stake for crying out loud because of some fundamental, you broke the law of God according to the literal translation. You know? Look what we've done to ourselves. But what a game. What a game.
Yeah, what a game. Yeah, let's bring our flexible rules so we can squeeze them in anywhere we want, right?
Right. Well, we shift sideways, and that reality already exists. We're just moving towards it. And that's how you get there. You climb the stairway to heaven with positive intent, climbing that stairway one step at a time, one knowledge at a time. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, once you get to that ledge, you can never have that taken from you unless you give it up willfully. And I know you guys, you won't, because I know I won't.
No, I won't. No, absolutely not. I do everything I can to help everybody I can in any situation I can. If you're broke down by the side of the road, your chances are very good if you met me, because I can start it.
There you go. Perfect. You see, we all have our roles and our missions to play in the movie. And you are the superstar of superstars, the hero of your movie.
Yes. Thank you so very much for your time. There's so many people trying to call yours, and I don't want to embark on anybody's time, but I'm sure I'll speak to you again. You have an amazing life.
You too, and I'm here. You know, universe always delivers, and I get to talk to so many people around the world, and that's why I make a conscious effort to do that, because I want people, the other points of me, to know that I know you're there, and I want you to know that I know you're there, and that way we have that. It brings it together, because I want you as real to me as I am to you, because if I'm not, then it's not real for anybody.
It's not working then. You have to have your belief there. You have to have it. The map's not the territory, right?
Yeah. Well, look what Santos was saying last night about royal, you know?
Yeah.
I want everyone to know that they're real, that they're royal, that they're the kings and queens of their universes.
I noticed you must totally enjoy your friends that you've now found and put things together with. I think I may have found a half of one in my entire lifetime compared to the ones I'm finding now.
Isn't it great?
It's absolutely amazingly beautiful, and I sure welcome it with open arms, I tell you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I can see why you and Linda click so well. Beautiful.
Yes, we do, and thank you. And I guess I should let you go, because I don't like to stay on the phone and bother people. Not that I'm bothering, but I'm going to sit back and enjoy the rest of the show, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Absolutely, Rick. Great to meet another point of me, another point of view. I love it.
Yes, it's nice to meet me, too. I just need to educate me like the other me.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I was going to say we got about 9 minutes to roll over here. I'm not sure how far we'll go. Now, Eddie, I'll open your mic, but it's got to be quiet where you are, because every time I open your mic, there's a freaking hurricane going on. So, here, watch. See? There we go. Eddie, there you are.
Wow.
It's hurricane going on over here, so I'm going to mute it, okay? But, it's been super for me. And, as you know, you and me.
I know.
So good.
All good. No problem, Eddie. I just wanted to hear your voice. I'm happy now.
Thank you. So, big hug and kiss for all of you guys. Love you all.
Hugs and kisses right back. So, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I'm going to roll over here or not. We'll see how much you guys can keep me on the air. But here, I'm going to mute you out, Eddie. We got that sound thing going on again. I don't know what it is with his phone. It always seems so noisy. But we got Mark in the call, and we got Tony in the call. Facebook's in the call. We got Nina's in the call.
Whereabouts are you in this world?
Right now, I'm in Welland. Earlier today,
Welland. Well, you're close to me.
Yeah, earlier today I was in
close to me, and I will send you my email. And anytime you need any kind of mechanical service or anything to do with your vehicle world, I'm very good at that. And I have a shop, and anything I can do for you, of course, it's only parts. My time's always free.
There we go.
Everybody else.
And the parts.
Same as everybody else.
Yeah, the parts always materialize, my friend, and
yes, they do. They do. But I like to help. I'm a people helper. I've always been one. So, by chance, if you happen to need anything that I can, sure as I'll help you. I'm sure of it.
Well, thank you, Rick. Much obliged. Mirror.
So,
hey, we got another 905. We got another 905 call, and this one's from the Brampton area.
Right on.
Hey there, Kate.
Hey, how's it going? Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did. My name is Joel.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's my first time calling in, but I did get to meet you once at the Celebrating Life event in Toronto.
Nice. Yes, I did. I do remember. Hey, how are you doing? Everything going good?
Yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks since I first met you, I think, actually, because I've been listening the last couple of nights, and I've been finding that it's healthy keeping my mind in a state more in tune with what feels natural for me. And so I'm trying to really get into me without it being so logically thought out, because that's how I tend to operate a lot, unfortunately. But
yeah, left brain's a bitch.
When you were talking earlier about that example of the Crown, some tavern or bar or whatever that was closed down, and then I think you mentioned that the way that you decided to interpret that was also taken out of this context of this reality, that it would be the Crown as in the legal, when the legal
I interpret my law.
Right. So when you made an interpretation to do that, is that then what actually gets you laterally to shift into a reality where that is what's actually happening?
Well, yeah, because what happens then is it manifests itself. As soon as the universe lines up with it in that moment, as soon as I get to that moment now, that's why I'm sliding like a mad dog to the right, it happens, and it's already happened, so I see the manifestation of it. I mean, prime example was when I called out Sir Paul Jenkins, the corporation soul of the Bank of England. I called out and claimed his office. Not even a week later, he's putting up that he's resigning from his office as of March. Stuff happens in real time. I see it all the time, and this is what I'm trying to show people: the power that you wield. You are God. I'm trying to give you the key, and it's all in the phonics. It is your.
I keep seeing the kind of teaching that you're portraying, or you're helping us remember. That's been reflected to me in a little bit different ways from other people. I guess it's information that I've been seeking out unconsciously, and now that it's kind of coming in, I feel like, okay, I'm going to try to put this into practice and create a certain reality, and this is what I wish to see, this is what I want to see, this is what I am doing, in all tenses, and to see if I can actually observe it coming in. And almost all the time, that exercise never works out for me, so then I keep thinking, okay, after everything I've learned along the way, where am I going wrong in the process?
Okay, well, it's not where you're going wrong, it's a matter of applying the right things, because the minute we ask, what if, and we doubt, what we're saying really, because an F can be an S, is what is. So you're out creating yourself. You're creating the mirror image of it. So uncreate the mirror image. When you say what if, just say what is. Stop saying what if. Say what is. That's the isness of is ISIS. Then you're putting it. You see, when we ask what if, we're actually putting it into the. Creation has no emotion. It is all motion. Okay, so when we put it into that void, it'll manifest without judgment. That's the whole point of creation, and why it's so much fun, because we can create things for us and against us. And what we've been doing in the Age of Pisces is creating against ourselves to have a game. It's just a contrast. There is no evil or good here. It is all neutral to me. It's how am I observing it to move into a timeline of bliss. That's all. So
and to actually be cognizant and be observing that change has occurred, then does your intention have to be so hyper-focused on just this, where literally this is all you're thinking about in every situation, it's all about this, giving weight to nothing else, really?
Well, it's about accepting all things. When we put in expectation or a limitation on something, we are the resistance to our. That's what happens when we are the Ro-Om, are the spirit breath resisting. So when we put out our intentions, let them go free. Don't put any considerations on them. Just know that it will be perfect, because creation is. It's only our perspective of how we're looking at it that can change. That's the free will choice. How are you looking at it? If you look at the Earth from the North Pole, it's turning counterclockwise. If you look from the South Pole, it's turning clockwise. So you got to get really equal on this. Get to the equator and turn yourself upside down any way you want. Because at what point in the vastness and the vacuum of space, the playground, go ahead, try and tell me which way is up. You go out into space where there's nothing around you, up is only a perspective.
And also pretty futile.
Yeah, well, again, you are all things at all points in all directions. What we've done is gotten polarized into looking at something one way or the other, and that is duality, and that's the game we're playing here. And it's a friggin' awesome game once you get a grip on it and can start turning these keys.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there. That's why I've been tuning in on most nights, is because it's practice. When I hear these things, it's reinforcements for me to remember how to exercise my intention and my power. And every thought that I have can make it or break that based on if I'm trained myself now to maintain this way of thinking. I guess it's so easy to fall off without the consistent support.
Well, again, we do it to ourselves. Now, we got a minute until we roll over here. It's starting to rain, so I'm going to see if this umbrella will actually stay in one place. I'm hoping. So if it gets too bad, I will be calling... Oops, wrong way. I'll be calling the show on account of rain. Rain, the truth is pouring down everywhere. Just a coincidence. Look away, look away, look away. You know, see how powerful you are?
Right now, Kate?
What's that?
Are you living out of your car right now?
No, I'm at a place right now. I'm just outside because it's quiet where I can stay focused, because I have to stay focused. And it doesn't take much to knock me off my download line.
Okay, well, thanks for the exchange, and I'll give this one to anyone else who wants to talk.
Well, Joel, much obliged. And don't forget, people, you guys can get me on Skype, katie.renee.thompson. So I'd love to get you guys in my contacts and get you into the rooms where you can meet hundreds upon hundreds of others just like you. They're in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions now. Are we shifting this planet? You're damn straight we are. There's no choice. So who else wants to jump in here?
Hello.
Hey, Elvira. How are you, sis?
Oh, I'm great. Superstar. Calling in to say hi to all the other superstars in my movie.
You're quite the director, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking you write a plot line, too, hon. Unbelievable. What are you, Gemini?
Oh, could be. Yeah, that might be it.
Could be. Yeah. Nothing like throwing a little mutable energy into the game, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, Aquarius is mutable, so that's where we draw on that mutability power. And how's everyone enjoying the shifting around? You know, we mutables are okay. We have our moments.
Yes. Yep, everybody's shifting. I hope they feeling it. It feels good.
Oh, yeah. No, it's always a Yeah.
Elvita. Hi, this is Nina. Hi.
Hi, Nina. I thought that was you. I did get it right. 425. I got it right. Yay!
You did. Thank you. I just wanted to thank you for all the work that you do and everybody that joins in to the conversation. I am not having so much fun with this shift myself. So I just wanted to ask you how to... Okay.
What do you want? Okay, Nina, what do you want in your movie? Let's get into a little spiritual game of contacting and contrasting here. What do you want? How can I script you better in my movie?
I think that's where it starts, is that there's such an abundance of what I want, and there's an abundance of what there is to have. It's just at this point I feel very confused, and I just really don't know what to do with all this power, to put it bluntly.
Okay.
It's just really confusing, and just to put I know that I have to put traction into my way of thinking, because what I do think is what I put out there, and I understand that whole the concept of it. The only thing is that with that power that I am now aware of, and it has manifested in my world, sometimes I just get really unsure about all that power, and I don't want to wheel it too much where I misuse it. Do you understand?
I already got the answer, hon, because I know exactly where you are, and I want to applaud you for being a very responsible God. And here's what I'm talking about. Where you're at, and I've been at that place. I was there for a long time, and I'm still there. So I'm very careful about what it is my intention is manifesting. I keep it very reined in. So what you're actually saying to yourself is that I have the power of God, and I'm not quite sure just yet how to wield that, so you're taking your own God baby steps. So I applaud you for taking full responsibility of your Godship. Thank you.
It is immense, and
it's huge.
After listening to you, and I've been listening to you for a little bit, about 8 months, and in the beginning when I listened to you, you'd piss me off. You'd say things that were true, but I just couldn't handle it at that point. And I still go back and listen to your old recordings, old shows, and they're wonderful and they're lucid. Now that I'm starting to understand the whole, a bit of the whole. So right now I'm stuck. A lot of people are having such a good time with this shift, but I'm really not. I'm kind of angry at being duped all these 44 years of being in this world, and now that I know, I just kind of am angry that I didn't know. Now that I do know, so here's your answer. If you can hear it, here's your answer. And I was talking about this to a friend last night. If we are angry at something, it's because we're still holding on to something, that there's still some form of vengeance there, okay? This is not judgment. This is observation. I do this to me all the time. When I have a reaction to something, it's not outside of me, it's inside of me, so I go immediately to me on this. So here's how I've overcome these things that, well, listen, I got SWAT raided, I got kidnapped, gunpoint, family, everything I've ever worked for my entire life was shredded and all the rest of it. So in the grand scheme of things, if you were living in the literal physical meat stick world, I have every right to be pissed off at everything, the universe, you name it. But what I had to do was this, I had to accept all things. And this is what happens when you accept all things to have brought you to where you are right now. So I'm going to ask you, are you happy that you're at this table? Absolutely.
Okay. Can you feel gratitude for everything you've been through and are experiencing to be at this table? It removes all the anger, because you would never have gotten here had those things not occurred. It's like I said last night about, children being registered. Well, yeah, they have to be. They can't experience a duality game if they're not. That's a trespass and free will choice. That's what this game is about. Can we figure it out? I just accept the game for what it is now. And it is unbounded in rules. The only illusion we came into was thinking there were rules. So I break them all and I follow them all at the same time. It's a perfect singularity universe. So start looking at the things that might have pissed you off, and thank you, I'm glad, because sometimes it takes me to piss people off for them to see where their fluffy is so they can go, oh, there you are, you little bitch, and then put it outside of themselves. You see, what this system has done has taken the fluffy or the ego, tricky little bastard, and has rammed it home inside of us so that we're the angry little meat sticks, right, chasing a tail or whatever the case may be. And what else did they do? Not only did they put the ego inside, or we put the ego inside ourselves, but we took God outside and put it outside in an external. That's a hell of a game to figure out. We pitted ourselves against our own creation. What else are we going to do?
That's exactly it. And that's what I think I'm the most angry about, is that I've been externalizing everything that has had to have happened internally. So I've been externalizing everything that was already internal, but in the wrong direction, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah,
or vice versa.
So, okay, well let's turn that one around. No, I totally get what you're saying. You're right there. So here, let's bring it home now. Everything that you are angry outside of yourself is exactly what is happening inside yourself. Yeah. So as soon as we can feel gratitude and grateful for all, just the experience of the contrast and knowing this was the whole purpose of the game, so we could have a game. If you're playing God mode, it's boring. So we limit ourselves. That is the all-knowing, putting ourselves in a position of all unknowing to see if we can figure it out, and we play a game and tricks and cosmic jokes against it. It's all a hoax in order to have bliss. So anything that is negative happened to me, I look at it and go, thank you, because if that hadn't happened, I would never have figured out what I'm sharing at this table right now. So if you can be grateful for what I share, then you can also be grateful for everything that I went through to get here, just like me. So I'm grateful for everything that has pissed you off, made a fucking dog's dinner of your universe to get you to this table. I am so grateful you're here, Ina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, and everybody else out there. Another thing is, I just kind of feel like whenever you say welcome to kindergarten, I do feel like I'm that student or that kindergarten bee that's just coming in the middle of school year and just can't quite understand what's being presented as far as, when you and Santos come together. And I grew up in a family that really didn't wield the Bible too much. Atheist father, and my mother not really into anything. So for me, when you are talking about what the Bible is translating into our reality, and to me sometimes it just sounds like Chinese, and I have to step out and do my own research and then come back and see if I can follow. So a lot of the information is extremely fascinating, and there's so much to learn. I just feel like I'm lagging behind. I just feel like these
I don't see that at all. Well, hon, listen, I have lived as a trans being for 49 years. You want to talk about pissed off and living a curse? Imagine being shoved in the exact opposite of what you know you are. Now, here, let's break down the word atheist, okay? Which means no God, vices, love. They can't even love themselves. That's the problem with atheism, right? But it's also a theist, a God and Isis love. It's both equal and opposite. It's just a polarized position. So those that have a polarized position, I used to challenge Christians all the time. Can you imagine that there is no God? And then, and then you want to see fur fly? Holy shit. And the fluffies come out with that one. But here's the thing, I said, until you can understand both sides of the coin, you'll never see it. You'll be getting hit with the tail of the dragon, or you'll be getting eaten by the mouth. Best to get on the rim where neither the tail nor the head can reach you. And you can reach out with your hands, grab the head and tail, and shove the tail down its throat even. And that's where we're at. We're taking the dragon's tail and shoving it down its throat and choking it. And y'all know I'm Year of the Dragon, so it takes one to slay one. That's why I use that allegory. You're doing perfect, hon. Absolutely perfect. Every challenge you came into this game with, look at all of the look at them as little tests to see if you can bite on that hook of emotion. If you're biting on the hook, you've been baited. You've been masturbated. You've been fucked. Yeah, you know, in my literals, right? I love literals that can be allegories and allegories that can be literals. I show them both on both sides, and I don't pull any punches with it. That's one of the reasons why I love Joe Rogan. That guy just spits it out and says it as it is. And I have nothing but respect for people that do that, because you know what? There's a no holds barred. There's an entity that just says it, puts it on the line. I don't have any rules or any charge on language. It's only my intent that matters now, and I've explained countless times how all the curse words are actually cures that have been reversed. So there is no such thing as a bad word, and there is no such thing as a good word. It's all about intent. And there are no words with creation. There's only beautiful sound. And how are you manifesting? And that's all I'm here to do. My game is simple. I mean, it came with my boy name, and I have it with my girl name. Okay, when I said it to the judge that day, Keith, just Keith, nothing more, nothing less. What I was saying to was just key of God, nothing more, nothing less. Right, because that's
that
what
was brilliant. By the way, that was great. Yes, I saw the video, and it was incredible just to see the energy behind your intent, and also just the reaction of the court and the judge and
don't mess with a mouthy Irish. Yeah, don't mess with a mouthy Irish tranny that stands in her ground. Sorry, you can't tell me who I am. I know who I am better than you do. Let's play.
Gotta love it.
Oh, it's fun. It's a good joke.
School. This is alchemy school. and I totally understand that. But I'm so new at this, so that I just get so overwhelmed with information.
What's my first rule? What's my first rule that I apply to me? Breathe. Just breathe. And just breathe more until it goes away. Okay? Get into the peaceful zone. As soon as you feel an emotion grabbing you, that's the resistance. You're being the Om resistor. Okay? You need to just let it pass through you. You need to become the invisible, the open creation, the note of C, the unconditional love, and accept all things, because all things have a reason. It is merely up to us to decide. There it is, one side or the other, to decide, or to not kill, or to kill. Decide which way we are going to look at it. So I choose both. It's like I can look at a cannibal and go, yeah, probably a really nice guy. I wouldn't be eating people, but you know what? Whatever floats your boat and sinks your anchor, I'm cool with, just as long as you ain't going to be eating me, unless we're really good friends and we're doing something else. Other than that, I'm good. You gotta let it be. Just breathe, hon. And I can't say that enough, and I can't put enough intent behind that. We've been in such a hurry for the drive-through truth machine. We've all been through we've all suffered our arrows and slings of outrageous fortune. But these are all parts of the game that we came to play so that we could have a game. So take bliss in the game itself instead of being an effect to it. And the best way to start, I do it with myself. I'm speaking from my own experience as to what I do. If it resonates, great with you, fine. But for me, I just breathe. Anytime, those times are getting fewer and much further in between, because I finally got a grip on the toroidal field. I'm finally the victor, or the vice Taurus, the vice of time, being trapped in a past emotion. Because anything that we bring from the past into the now, we are at constant effect to it. And I can bring so much stuff to my now and let it affect me. But I won't anymore, because I know it was perfect, that all things were for a reason, and I can go through a list of things that would have had most people take themselves out of the game. But I'll tell you this right now. The only way that anyone is going to learn how to stand is once, and only once, they get taken to their knees. Because you can stay on your knees and be one of the sheeple of this planet, which they're getting fewer and fewer because the timeline is moving laterally, where they're not there anymore. But you can be one of those, or you can stand up, brush your Capricorns off, your Christ consciousness, knee is Capricorn, stand, and one thing you'll notice if you look in the mirror, you're slightly taller. And you will be taller every time you get taken to your knees. So take the taken to the knees as blessing instead of the curse. And I'll tell you this also, that once you get this concept and are done with all of the negative and the anger and feeding the downward stairway to hell, that's when you turn around and you start climbing upwards on the stairway to heaven. So I breathe, I accept all things, because I know that when I can accept all things, I am not resisting anything, so that I can slide you will not move laterally if you have resistance. But here's the good news, hon. Because that perfect version of you is already in my linear timeline that I'm working towards on the lateral. I am moving to the east to the sunrise, and you're already there. Same with me, same with everyone that's listening right now. We're already there. We never left. We went and played a game, and now we're on our way back to a higher level of play that is a whole lot more conducive now that we have the contrast that we have been through in countless lifetimes of going through the absolute bliss and the absolute hell. We just came through the absolute hell. You know what it feels like just when winter's ending and you see the first signs of spring? That's where we are right now. The first signs of spring are showing up. And that's why I ask people, just breathe and start envisioning the blossoms, the spring, the new life that is upon us. It is not coming, it is here. We simply have to accept it. I'm good with that. I can go into spiritual contract with that, because I know for me it is absolute, irrefutable truth. And I know how to prove it. That's the magic. I can prove it in the sounds. I can prove it in the Phoenicians. Everything is there. It's all in the phonic. The true language of all is simply sound. Phonic can be an F, F-O-N-I-C. F can be an S. Isn't it funny how sonic and phonic are the same word?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or the sun I see. Can you see the sun within you? Because I sure as hell can.
I'm starting to thank you for that. I just had so much running through me, all cold and hot and goosebumps everywhere. Thank you. I felt it. Yes, it's awesome.
The goosebumps, thank you. You just sent them back. Thank you. The goosebumps, by the way, are the effervescence of pure lateral time creation. Sliding, aren't we? Oh, yeah, you got a supercharge there. I got it going right up my arms, across my back right now. Wow.
It's so real. It's crazy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I gotta stop.
There's Nina. There's Nina. Hi, where you been? You weren't there a minute ago. Look at the lateral timeline you're in. Look at the new improved version of you in my new and improved timeline. You see how powerful this truth is?
Oh, thank you. It is awesome. It's a really new concept, yet it is so old. It feels so knowing. It's interesting. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's a brand new KNEW concept. We already knew this. Yeah. That's why it's brand new. Look at the word new, NEW. Oh, it's brand new. It's like we haven't seen it before, but it's also brand new. I knew that.
New. Yeah.
KNEW. You see how it's all in the phonics?
Yes, it is.
If people just play in the phonics, if you're looking for epiphany after epiphany after epiphany, and to keep that beautiful vibe running high, just hang out in the sound, and it will blow your mind and all charges that you have emotional. And you see, when you get to that 0 point, that is bliss. That's where there isn't a care in the universe. And when you get there, you're in the seat driving this ship, your own mind. You've got the helm and you're holding on, and nothing's going to take you from it. Fluffy, she's off in the field somewhere sniffing for some dog poop or something, but I'm okay. I got the wheel now, because she knows she'll never get that wheel back, ever.
Saturdays used to be your Fluffy. That's when Fluffy used to come out.
So those are fun days, though, and I do bring her to the table because she is quite an entertaining little bitch.
Very.
So listen, all things, I accept all things, so I'm okay with bringing Fluffy to the table just to show the contrast, and that's all I'm doing, because I can put out all sorts of verbals, and not one gram of intent behind it, just to show the drama. I love showing people the drama without the intent. The other day, I had a friend of mine with all this pent up, beautiful call it rage, and went through all the emotions. And I said, wow, look at you. There was no intent in that. You were just experiencing that moment without putting all that garbage out. It was beautiful to behold. It was beautiful to be a part of that. And I just looked at her and I said, well done. Well done. With all that, and not one, because I'm an empath, I can feel that shit. If it's real and someone's really pushing it out, yeah, I can feel that. I was standing there in awe going, wow, there's nothing. It's not putting anything out, but you're dramatizing it perfectly in my movie. So that's a neutral point. That's a 0 point. It's friggin' awesome. I love watching people get there. That's my trip. That's my dimethyltryptamine for me. When I watch it happening with other points of view of me, manifesting it right in plain sight in front of me. You know, it's like listen to. I would say listen to our conversation and listen to the first part of the conversation and listen to it now, and tell me you won't find the contrast in that.
I'm already feeling it. I definitely feel a little bit lighter. I guess I needed to just talk to you. I had to take a step away from everything and everybody because I just was feeling pretty crunchy about the whole, everybody was just loving this whole shift thing. And I was just not. I guess I was just holding on to the old Nina and the old negativity of it all that I'm so used to. And for so long, that's where I've been hanging out. And is in that negative stance of thinking, being, and it was just, I guess, encompassing my whole person. So
let's not call it negative. Let's not call it negative. Let's just call it a different version of you in a different timeline that we're no longer in.
Okay.
That's all it is. That's what consciousness is. It just shifts. It moves. It looks. Because here's the thing. Consciousness is static. It doesn't move. So when we move around in the meat sticks, that's all illusion. Because what's happening, if let's say you're driving a car, you're not doing the driving. The actual planet and everything is coming at you. You're in that singular point. You're not moving at all. You just have the illusion that you are. Everything in your dream is moving around you. The whole universe revolves around you, not the other way around. You see, but we had to do this to have the contrast. So again, I just say to people, breathe, and it can be, Nina, it can be so overwhelming. When you really click on some of this shit, and it's like, holy, and then you go, I better be careful, and it's really overwhelming. So that's when you feel overwhelmed, that's when you need to really spend the time with you and just don't think. Just breathe and be at peace. And look for the things that are bugging you and flow gratitude at them for getting you where you are in this consciousness slide.
I will. I'll do that. Thank you.
Well, hey, you're the one that chose the monster roller coasters like the rest of us. You're the lighthouse. Of course you're going to go through a bit more. We're the camp counselors.
And thanks for being here. I mean, I just don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have, your show to come back to just kind of get a grip on everything. It's interesting, living here in Seattle, things are, I don't really get to go out much more because I just don't like being out there. People are just very aggressive in their nature, and it's just a very, very strange feeling being out in the world. So I just kind of have been more of a hermit and trying to figure out my shit before I go out there again.
Well, that's because what we're learning to do. That's the same with me. I don't like going out there because I'm a lighthouse in training, and a lighthouse doesn't move much. You see, so the more we do not agree, like listen to the literal babble. I listened to some people's conversations, like when I was out today, and trying to have a conversation with someone that was completely, aware of, things that are happening, but they were quite happy with the system. And I'm thinking, great, well, as long as you're happy with your nightmare, I'm and I got to say, as the conversation went on, I could feel the emotional energy building up, right? That's because I can sense it. And I always remind people, I say, listen, we're just having a conversation. We're just having a chat. It's not about making right or wrong. It's just all I'm doing is trying to share a different perspective, not to make you right or make you wrong. I'm just going to give you another way to look at the orange. I'm standing on the other side of the orange. Do you want to see how I see it? you want to see the whole orange, I'll share my half that I see with the half that you see, because I used to stand on that side. I know what the orange looks like. It's pretty boring. It's pretty literal. And it's amazing. And it doesn't take me long to get people to run away. Because it's not because they don't like me, it's because they don't like themselves. They can't handle the truth within themselves.
That's exactly it, yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's why we end up becoming the lighthouse. And I think we have Santo. You disappeared for a little while there, bud.
Oh, yeah, man. I got distracted. I got a phone call, so...
All good.
Yeah. My son got bitten by a redback spider.
Oh, God, not good.
Yeah, that's he's okay. He's been treated. They're giving him charcoal, and he's under a lot of pain, morphine, etc. But he went up to visit his mum. Yeah, well, that's what I'm arguing with my sister. I said, just put some piss in your mouth, and the little dick doesn't want to do it because he's a stubborn little freaking Libran. And, he'd rather, I don't know. But I told him everything. Oil pulling with coconut oil. I suggested...
okay.
Hang on. This is his mum calling me back. I'll be back in a tick, okay? I'll just take this call.
She just changed her mind. But you see what I'm saying about how we can get... because we love. That is the only tool that gets used against us. Because we love so much, we want to be there to give people the right answers. I'm at the point now where it's like, you want the answers? Here I am. You come to me. I'm not coming to you. Here, I'll tell you the truth. If you can deal with it, great. If you can't, great. You want to die with a redback spider bite? You go ahead. I'm good. Enjoy your experience.
I didn't know. I'm a Libran. I didn't know that Librans was stubborn. I kind of am, but I didn't know that was one of our traits. I'm pretty stubborn, so that makes sense that I've been just kind of hanging out in sort of in limbo and trying to not enjoy my power.
Well, my mom was Libra, right? So I know all about the Libra energy, and I got to tell you, when a Libran is in balance, there's nothing that can tip that scale, and when they're out of balance, there's nothing that can sort it out but themselves. And what you're doing is you're bringing your scales into balance.
Yeah.
Having a bit of fun with that, are you?
Yes.
Well, look at me. I'm Gemini. I had to learn to not think. Are you kidding me? Do you know how hard that was?
It's got to be. I have a daughter. She is Gemini, and she's quite a thinker.
Oh yeah.
I'm back.
Hey, there you are.
Now, while my sister was telling me this, he got bitten at 11:30, and it just really pays to be on top of astrology, right? There's a cardinal grand trine. He is Libran. Mars is in Libra, and it was in the 7th house when he was bitten. So Mars in the 7th house. Watch that, folks. And Mars is going to be in the 7th house for all of us concerned here, no matter where we live on the globe, around about 11 to 12, or 11 to 1 for 2 hours in the 7th house, and then it'll be followed by Saturn between say 1 and 3. So just really, really be aware of this. Don't fear this, but just know this, because this is what's been happening. All the tension happens around between 11 a.m. in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. It has been happening regularly in other people's lives, in my life too, in the last couple of weeks, because that's when most of the negative part of the cross is going to bear down on us. And keep in mind too that between these two malefics, Saturn and Mars, is the North Node. So whatever they bring, they're going to bring it with a punch. And looking at my son's chart and comparing it with the time that it happened, 11:30, you can just see Uranus is on the ascendant. The moon is, put it this way, the Saturn, where it is right now, on the 21st degree, is right where his moon is, on the 23rd degree of Scorpio. He's got a Scorpio moon, and his ascendant is on the 24th degree of Scorpio, and that's where Saturn is right now. If I had looked at that, I could have, this is the thing. You've got to be on top of this constantly, not so that it guides, so that it rules your life, so that it guides your life. And there it is. It's always there. He's going to be all right. He is. They're taking him back from the hospital now, and they weren't going to put him on the ambulance and give him anti-venom. He's gulping down charcoal, and once he gets home, he's going to do the oil pulling and the urine, but he's still, apparently, his mum says, I need to tell him, to convince him to do that. I can't believe I've been telling him about urine therapy for 3 freaking years. And solar gazing, and he still doesn't do that, and his right eye's getting worse and worse. So just goes to show we do need what you said, Kate. Some people have to go through fire. I'm sure this is going to be a big wake-up call for my son, who's a precious, precious being. He's very, very, advanced consciously, but lagging his feet a little bit.
I think that's a Libra trait, Santos. You have to be a little bit patient with us.
Yeah, lazy Venetians. Venetians. They just want to.
But once we get there, we'll get there.
Well, you see, and look at it in the mirror test. Speaking of a spider bite, can you bite onto the emotion hook and neutralize it? So I'll use myself as an example. I went through and I knew I was going to. This was why I had a big smile on my face, going through my own crucifixion from December 21st to December 25th, because I knew that neither one of my daughters, who are the main thrust and motivation for everything I've done in this life, wouldn't even bother to text me to care if I was even alive, never mind any of that. So but I knew that was coming, and I'm neutral on it. I accept all things, and I just let all things be, because the timeline that we're moving to has them in a state of, oh my God, my parent is a superstar. Yeah, I know. I've been trying to tell you. So can we go flying now? Okay, so that's where I put it. So I let them experience it. That's fine. I'm not gonna. I already trespassed on their existence enough by giving them things that they wanted and needed, and never had to want for anything. Of course, I was a villain. Of course, I had everything ripped away from me because I was trespassing all over by handing fish out everywhere. Stupid bitch, and I got slapped upside the head with it. I'm okay with it. The measure of the destruction that you go through is the measure of the giving that you already have. You just get in the mirror of it, you see. And once you balance that out, guess what happens? All of the seeds, and I think you were talking about this last night, Santo, all of the seeds that you've planted throughout eternity are now bouncing back from the rim of creation itself.
Oh yeah. All the good and all the evil at once. And what will happen is the bliss will come from the marriage of the two. This is what spirit pure fire is doing. We are all being purified. I know for a fact. I could see like a little wake-up call for my son, I could see that because, oh, yeah, Dad, I know. Yeah, oh, Dad, oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. He's always agreeing, but I just didn't see, sort of walking the talk. Not that he does a talk, it would be very hypocritical of me if I didn't, but he doesn't go, he's not vocal and vociferous about, he's very sort of... passive at the moment. But yes, so this is it. Fire is purging the evil and the good. They all come together in 0 point where bliss is waiting. It's just the same as magnetic light, which is the fulcrum for polarized positive and negative electricity, Ra and El. And in the middle, there is always Isis.
Yeah. And with my daughters, you know what I get to experience as consciousness with them? Because they are me. I am them, as I am all of you, as you are all of me. Is I get to experience their gratitude. Isn't that cool? How blissful cool. Is that? Mirror, mirror. I'm in. I'm good. We have come such a long way. It's funny, Nina mentioned earlier about, jumping on the table for the first time about 8 months ago and me pissing her off on occasion. I do that to a lot of people. It's kind of my nature. Here's the truth. Slap, slap, slap. I don't want it. Fuck you, right? Okay, it's all good. Like I said, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make gods. But let's all for a second think back to 8 months ago and where we were then and where we are now. Can you see the contrast of now moment and how far we've slid on the lateral scale?
Absolutely, yes.
That's all I look for now, the contrast. Here it's all about contrast. Kate? Yeah.
Hi, this is Fabian. How are you?
Hey, Fabian. Welcome back.
Hey, man. Thank you, Kate. I just want to say I'm in Richmond today, and I walked into a store, and this lady had a dog that was limping. Its back hind leg was limping, and I explained to the lady about Dr. Bob Beck and using a magnetic pulsar, things that are kind of underground. But then she started crying and telling me that she was trying to heal her dog, and then when we left, I looked at the store. And the store's name was called Epoch. What in the hell does that mean? I'm going to mute out and get your answer, okay?
So much for that's the limping dogma.
Wow.
And the change of epoch.
I'm going to listen.
That's funny.
The saga, right?
Yeah, it's a saga. So the dogma is now limping. Yeah, soon to be put down. Sorry about that, but that's just the way my reality works. No harm, no foul. I mean, every point of consciousness picked its role, whether it's a dog or a human or a bird or a cat or a tree or whatever. It's all me. I'm just grateful that I picked this consciousness so I can actually be more at cause, to be my own crow and my own crown. It's pretty cool. And you guys have done a masterful job of keeping me yapping for another, almost 40 minutes. Well, we might as well roll to the end here, so.
I thought so, then.
I know, you guys, fuck Kate, she's tired. We're going to keep her talking. It's all good. It's all good. Of course you will. Of course you will. I'm okay with it. I don't see. That's the thing. I accept all things. Well, I'm supposed to be here talking, so I'll just be here talking. We got 20 minutes left.
You have to.
I know, it's funny, eh?
Yeah.
And do you know what my perfect timeline is? One where I'm never doing this.
Yeah. I see you more with a guitar sitting at a fire, singing sweet little nothings to everybody, and just being you in your will.
Yeah, and guess what? I brought. I picked when I was in Cambridge today. I picked my guitar up, which has been there, lamenting, waiting for me. So I brought her here, and she'll travel with me like she used to all the time. I'm good. So
can
that's
we get fuck yeah for the guitar?
Fuck yeah.
Good.
Now I've just got to get back to Guelph to get my keyboard. I miss my keyboard most of all.
Kate, the Mars in the 7th house, according to Firmicus, I mean, I've done countless charts of people that have had every bone broken, accidents, cuts. Oh, it's just fallen off ladders, shit like that. It says here, Mars in the 7th house, that is, on the descendant, by night or day, makes for a violent death, according to the nature of the signs. He indicates this evil strongly in alien signs, for he predicts pains, lacerations of the body from a fall or death, or he has the native thrown in prison, or condemns him to deadly misfortune. In nocturnal charts, Mars indicates painful fevers from all kinds of activities. He often inflicts wounds that become infected so that they have to be cauterized by hot iron. He produces hidden pains in the body, especially if he himself is the ruler of time or he shares in the rulership of time. Won't worry about that. Mars in the 7th house. Yeah, so it's all of that stuff. So poisons would be in that too. Acute things. See, Mars is acute. He's quick. Saturn is Chronos. So you got chronic illnesses. So for acute illnesses, you check out Mars. And if he's in the 7th house, which is going to be for a month or so, around about 11 to 1 every day. Just keep that in mind because it's going to be very, very handy information. Don't be speeding on the roads. Don't be angry. Breathe.
Okay. Question for you. Now, 11 to 1 can we reference that from which time zone?
Everyone. That's anyone, anywhere. Mars will be in around the 7th house, around about that time. You need to check for yourselves where you live. It might be earlier.
Okay, that's why I was asking, because if it's 11 to 1 your time, then it's going to be entirely different for me and entirely different for other people. So just be mindful of where Mars is in the 7th house according to your time zone. Perfect. Thank you.
Is that for any sun sign?
Everybody. No,
everybody,
regardless. Yeah. Anybody, everywhere, doesn't matter. Just do the chart, go into horoscopes within, and do the chart for, say, 10 or 11 or 12 in the morning, 11 in the morning, around there. See where Mars is, and just work out when Mars is going to enter the 7th house and the 6th too, in your zone, and just have a massage, relax, be mindful.
Be mindful.
Can you do me a favor, Kate? No worries, Tyler. Can you read this tarot? I pulled 3 cards of the tarot deck. Okay, now I've got the first one was, which I put to the left, is the Knight of Wands. The middle one is 7 of Swords, and the last one to the right is 2 of Cups. Please.
2 of Cups. I'll have to run in and grab my book. So talk amongst yourselves for about 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie. So that will apply to both me and my son in this situation.
Quick question. What's the significance of Mars? I am such a blank canvas, and I would like to learn a little bit more about astronomy and astrology. And I'm a little bit aware, and I have a little bit of knowledge, but it's not enough for me to know exactly what you mean as far as the information that you just conveyed.
Well,
what do we need to look out
malefics
for?
With Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the angles are the strongest signs in the zodiac, and those are the four angles, the 4 cards of the chart. The first being the ascendant on the left at 9 o'clock. That's the most powerful angle. It exerts about 35-40% of the whole chart. And the MC in the 10th house. So the MC goes with the 10th house. The ascendant goes with the first house. So the first house, the AC, and the 10th house, the MC, are the most important because they have all the power. The angles have all the power. It's just the same as the cardinal signs. So these houses, these cardines, correspond exactly with the cardinal signs. So when you've got, and of course the 7th house is also one of these cardines because it follows what's called the descendant. And the next one is the 4th house, which follows the IC. So you've got the AC, the MC, the DC, and the IC. Now these 4 are usually arrows that are extra strong. They are the 4 big cusps. And all the other cusps.
Keep going.
Yeah. And so when Mars is in one of those angles, he will be exerting extra force. Mars carries a sword. He is the wounder. He will wound you acutely. He will do that to your physical body. He will do that in your friendship relationships. He will do that in your personal relationships. And so being in the 7th house...
Keep going, Santo. I need 1 more minute. I'll be right back. Keep going.
Yeah. That angle of Mars in the 7th house, because the descendant has to do with death and tragedy and descending, you see, Mars is about to set. When my son was bitten, Mars being in the 7th house, that's the house that is just above the western horizon. So Mars was there westing. Westing means dying. And so he is very, very strong there because it's an angle. You see, it's a very strong angle, and it's opposite the ascendant angle. You never see the planets ascending because they are below the horizon, but you can watch them descending in the 7th house. So it's the house of partnerships and marriage, but it also holds so much power that the malefics, when they are there setting, rest assured, you will feel that in everything you do in your life. For instance, you might be in the kitchen cutting and you know, you could get a cut. And that's when it does happen. And notice when you do get cuts, go to the chart immediately and see what was in perhaps the 7th house descending or the 6th. And so, but what I'm saying though is that around midday, all of us will be feeling this martial energy as the sun sets everywhere around the planet, and then Saturn follows an hour or two later. They are both the malefics, and so there will be a strong energy during the day, and all of us are concerned.
Okay, what are the cards again?
Knight of Wands to the left.
Okay, Knight of Wands. So that we'll deal as a past, present, future 3 card.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And can you apply this to both me and my son?
Yep.
Because I actually drew these this morning for me, but I realise why. Because it'll apply to my son too. So the middle one is 7 of Swords, and the right one is 2 of Cups.
Okay, well here's his answer if he wants to play this game, right? So here's a Knight of Spears. It's Bedivere.
No, Knight of Wands.
Oh, it's Spears in my book. It's the same. Wands, Spears. They're the same thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. Attractive, sociable young man committed to developing his abilities to their full potential. He is intelligent and magnetic. His strategies are generally unpredictable and effective. A journey or change of residence can represent acting on intuition and having the courage to risk unconventional ideas. So there's his clue. You better risk the unconventional. Okay, what's the middle one?
7 of Swords.
7 of Swords. Swords are never fun. So this is the present. Inspiration. Actually, you got the only positive card in the Swords. There we go. Inspiration, enthusiasm, a new direction and purpose, the beginning of a new enterprise. Recent events bring the promise of brighter days to come. The instilling of hope, faith, and strength. Sensing one is on the destined path. The renewal of spirit and ambition, following what seems to be good omens pointing the way. Okay, what's the last one?
2 of Cups.
2 of Cups. It's all good. It's a win.
I thought so. Well, this morning I drew some cards, but then when I looked at me Rider-Waite Deluxe deck, I realised that I couldn't accept those cards because the Wheel of Fortune was still in the box. So I thought, no, it has to be complete. And so I redrew them this morning before the show, and
okay.
I applied them to me.
Okay, here's 2 of Cups. Love, union, rapport, the forming of strong emotional bonds, mutual understanding and sympathy, the sharing of a common experience, joy and contentment, confiding in another, emotional stability within a romantic relationship, a harmonious domestic life, the beginning of a trusted partnership, pleasure and comfort can indicate falling in love, engagement, or marriage. So that to me is a beautiful outcome. It's all beautiful.
Beautiful.
All it's going to do is increase the bond between you and your kid. It's beautiful.
Geez, Santos,
yeah, for sure. Sorry?
Sorry, I was going to say, Santos, I wish you were drawn for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he did actually. See, because when somebody draws cards for one, they draw for all. So they are for you. You heard them, so they're yours. How are you interpreting them in yours? See, you win.
Look, I am the wand I am the knight that carries the wand, and in the Rider-Waite there are 3 pyramids in the background, and the knight is in armor, full armor, with the wand in his right hand. And he's on a beautiful horse, which is on his back hind legs. So that's where I come from. 7 swords, well, 7, I know what the number 7 means. All the 7 chakras, and the 2 cups. It's interesting. The Rider-Waite one, Kate. This is the future card that I drew. It has a male and a female holding a golden cup, and above it is the caduceus of Mercury, the 2 serpents in the middle of the 2 cups, and above that is the lion with wings.
Yeah, that's the griffin, and what you're dealing with, that card is all about rapport, union, coming together in perfect balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2 of Cups. It's a singularity card as I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We always agitate and stir up the effect world so that it can be in harmony with our cause. I realise that all the actions I take, reckless though they may be, having Uranus in the first house, I can only, I can only sort of live true to my energies, but I always know that the outcome is beautiful. Because when you know who you are and you know that you started off from a beautiful place, and this is what we all must remember, we started off from a blissful place. It's called Is. And then we decided to run left, Israel. See, Jacob, he had his name changed when he was struggling along the ladder and finally saw God face to face in the place Peniel. Well, the angel said to him, I shall call you Israel. And what does Israel mean? Struggle with God. So if you don't take your 7 swords out and struggle with God and is right and left, do the dance of right and left, but always come back to is being, you will never know which path are you going to take, the right one or the left one, because you're out of control. You're unbalanced. And the only balance point is in the is. I see. I-S. I see.
Yep, you nailed it. See, this is why I'm really ramming the point home, pun intended, Aries, ramming the point home of accept all things, everything is perfect. And now that you know that all things are perfect, just envision the timeline you want to be in and put your intent there. Or get caught up in the fear, get caught up in the drama, get caught up in the emotion, and be at the mercy to it. That is the Israel. That's the... and someone had just asked about the serpent. Why is the serpent deemed an evil thing? It's not. It's both. You see, the serpent can be the snake that bites you to kill you, or it can be the snake that tells you the truth, right? Just like the snake in the proverbial Garden of Eden. The serpent was actually the good guy trying to say to man that here's the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. You eat from these, you will be as the gods. I don't see anything bad about that. I mean, we've had our experiences to get here, but it's a game, and what a beautiful game it is. So, yeah, just get your minds into the places that you need them to be. Do not get caught in the drama. Do not get caught in worry. Don't get caught in anything. Just envision the perfect outcome that you desire and put your intent and only your intent there. Instead of saying what if, say what is, because that's what you're saying anyway. This is what is. So be God.
Yeah, and the serpent, remember, is Hydra. Hydra is hydrogen. The hydro generator is hydrogen is the fundamental toroidal field of the universe. So when you see those serpents, you are seeing the waves of water, hydrogen.
Well, here, you speak of the Hydra, Santo. What happens when you cut the head off of a single-headed Hydra? 2 grow back. Right, and then you cut those 2 heads off, and 4 grow back. So that's what happens when you start going against. That's when you're resisting creation. What you need to do is to get to the belly and the heart of that beast to solve it. It's the only way you can slay that.
And
Does that relate to the
Go ahead.
Go.
I'm sorry. Does that relate to the Bible passage where it says if you get rid of one demon in your house, many more will enter back? Does that relate to kind of if you cut the head off, 2 will go back?
Well, that's the thing. If you're cutting the head off, it's out of fear and anger, retaliation, vengeance. So stop cutting the heads off and go straight for the heart. That's what I do. I go to the core of every issue, and the core is me. And we got about 4 minutes left here, guys, so just let you know. Go ahead, Sano.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, that's what you just said there is, see, as the hydrogen, you've got to see where hydrogen is hiding. It's hiding in the bonds, the hydrogen bonds of the DNA. DNA backwards is the word and comes from andros, man. Of course the man is made of DNA, the woman. And so when you have surnames like Anderson, the son of a manly man, and backwards DNA, bonded by hydrogen.
So there, the hidden force behind all the binding of the universe is the androgen, and being a conjunctive to join, androgen. That's your drogon or dragon.
Absolutely, it's androgen. Yep.
Right. So there's your fifth element. I just want to do a quick shout for Christopher or Christ Ofer for his show tomorrow night. Unfuck yourself from the system. I'm so grateful for Christopher taking on one night because it gives me one clear day to just be. And I'll be back on Monday night, same time, same place, Santo. And you're more than welcome to join Christopher as well, Santo, because everyone is welcome to this table. All you need to do is just, if you want to jump in with Christopher, he can pull you in the call as well. So whatever floats your boat, and, chances are I'll be tuned in anyway, listening, sitting back. And if I know me, I'll have something to say anyway, but whatever. Can't shut this bitch up, And it's funny, I just want to stop talking.
I'll join.
Okay.
So I won't be hosting them. That's all.
No, he'll bring you in.
Yeah, look, and it's a pleasure. If he needs to, just tell him to buzz me, and I'll join any time for sure.
Okay, well, I'll make sure you both have each other's contacts, and I'll let him know. He's probably tuned in right now anyway, so on the board somewhere. I'm just not going to bother checking because it's too late in the show to bother. But I'll let him know via Skype, and I'll just share contacts anyway. So if you have each other, great, and that way he'll know to bring you into the call tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll love it. I know he will. Okay, so much love to everybody, and well done for dragging my sorry ass along for another ride on this roller coaster. Just because I love me.
We love you.
Yeah, see how that... Well, you are me. That's what I'm saying. I love me. I mean, how can't you love me? Come on. Look at yourself in the mirror. How can you not love me?
Yeah.
You're perfect. I know you are. You're me. I love it.
That's perfect.
So much love to everybody. We got about a minute here. So any last words from anyone?
Thank you for everything. Thank you for all the words.
Oh, thank you for giving me a purpose to have them. What a game. Yeah, and like Bindi said, drink your way, for crying out loud. Get on it. Get on your Philosopher's Stone and watch your universe just explode. It's beautiful. You want the supercharged version of the roller coaster cart? There it is.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, and Santos again.
Oh, our pleasure.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, we can't make a better world if we're not making a better effort, So that's why we're here. We're all here, and you guys are, you're at this table equally, right? This is a round table set completely level. We are just simply being is in unison. Wow, what a game! So
thank you.
Much love to everybody, and
enjoy your day. Enjoy your day off, Kate.
Well, I got a few phone.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's the lateral tone. These are the sort of things we need to look for, because subliminally they have placed little signposts and little hints and glyphs and symbols there for the purpose of power and control over others. So the more you notice the opposite of these things occurring, the more you realise what's going on, and that is that it's changing. It actually is changing, manifesting so quickly that if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. This is why I say to people, I get people writing to me, "Oh, Santos, I saw one of your videos, and you were telling." You were talking about how to get out of the system, and you gave a site with these links. Now, those links, rest assured, that's old stuff. Anything I've done that's on is already old, right? But it's eternally valid. But when you're talking about, some of the remedies we used to have 3 years ago, for instance, going to court, be the beneficiary, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. That's all gone. That's why I say to people, have you been listening to the latest shows on Critical Mass Radio? No, I haven't followed, blah, blah, blah. And I say, well, just, that's it. That's all I'm saying for people to do. And it's because, and that's my reply to everybody. get on this show because things are going to be changing so quickly, and what a better way to gift your friends and loved ones and everyone with these audio files. You know, this will be an introduction to them to know who they are. Once you know who you are, that you are the divine and identical with the divine, with God, then you will treat others as being God, and you will bring yourself into your own godship. And when everyone is God and knows that they are God, there's no such thing as government, police forces, military, and all that shit. That comes due to forgetting who you are. Those are the symptoms of forgetting who you are.
Pure and simple. And it's funny that you did the Freudian there. I did watch that episode of The Simpsons, Steal This Episode, and of course I downloaded it. Anyway, you got to watch this thing. If you cannot see the allegories in it, look at Homer Simpson as humanity and how stubborn humanity has been. When you got people standing around the water cooler talking about a movie that they just watched, and they're talking about the scenes in it, Homer hasn't seen it yet, and they say to Homer, you can't stand at the cooler here because you haven't seen the movie yet, right? And then he ends up getting kicked out of the movie. And I got to say, right out in front of the Springfield Church, where the minister is using the allegory of the radioactive man, right, is a character. Honestly, Santo, for everybody out there, I'm not sure where I got it, but anyway, it's look for The Simpsons, Steal This Episode. That's the name of the episode, Steal This Episode. And if you are not busting an allegorical gut watching this, don't worry. I'm working my ass off to get to that lateral timeline where everyone's awake anyway. I don't care about who's awake and who's asleep. It's only me that I have to deal with. And this is the power of the one within. This is what it means to be you are the one. And if but one shall awaken, the whole fucking thing wakes up. And I see it now. And I've seen it for a while, but I got to tell you, the epiphanies, I am giggling all the way. Anytime I'm in the car driving, I'm just laughing and laughing and laughing. Oh, a car passes me today. You know what his plate was? Limitless. Now, just give you another example of how things line up. I'm listening to Bill Donahue, and he's talking about the left side of the brain is a 10%. That's what you have to pay with. That's what you pay with. It was the episode. He was talking about the story of Jonah, and even Jonah was still Homer at the end of the allegory, right? So I'm going to urge everybody, and you as well, Santo, watch it's called Man Overboard. That's the Man Overboard episode from Bill Donahue. Watch that.
I heard it yesterday.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. What happened at the very end? Jonah was still wanting the literal ending. Jonah still had the dove. Jonah still wanted vengeance. See, Jonah was saved. That's an ego effect. I'm saying, look at the born-again Christians or all of these fundamental. I don't give a shit what religion you are, okay? I know that I don't think there's anyone with the religious stripe listening to this show, but anyway, look at the arrogance, the pompous arrogance, and I have met so many, and you know so many as well, Santo. As soon as somebody says, I'm a born-again Christian, I'm saved, I'm going to heaven, and I've got all my fuck shit together, and I'm this and that, and a bag of chips, and then some, and okay, fine, if that's truly the way it is, and what are you doing going out trying to make money and increase your wealth and all the rest of it? If that was true, and you are saved, then what the hell, why are you not out spreading the message? Hey, Nicodemus, it's a hypocritical viewpoint, right? So this is why, for me,
the writer of the Language Crystal book, Bill Donahue, is one of his favorites. He says, language is the science that contains all other sciences.
It sure does. It's all sound, right?
Yep. Page 68 of his book there. Language is the science that contains all other sciences.
Well, math is a language. Music is a language. Words are a language.
Yeah, well, it's abracadabra. Once you reveal what the words are and show their true meaning, because the letters are particles and the words are the waves. So there's your particle and your waves. Consonants have always been the particles. And the vowels are the creators, you see. So when we speak forth, we connect our vowels with consonants, and the creative force is in there. And these particles and waves that emanate from our own selves. When you look at the word emit, backwards it is time. So, time is what we emit because we are the time emitters.
Yeah, the tie me up.
Exactly. Well, that's where E equals energy equals how does it E equals MC squared is yeah, we're the ones that are bending the light, bending the time, because we emit it. We are time. Like, we are controllers of it. So that's a natural thing. This is why life and fire are actually the same word, because L and R, as I've ever said, are interchangeable. And so life and fire being anagrams of each other, when you realize what L and R are doing, we are the emitters of light, hence we have fire and life in us. And what did Jesus say? I am the light of the world. I am the life of the world. I am the way. No one goes to the Father except through me. Well, that's because we have to bring ourselves back to life by reigniting Agnes, igniting the fires, the mystical, spiritual fires. If you don't do that, you'll always be in the literal, burning down there in hell in the physical, because the three bottom chakras are all physically connected, sensually connected, whereas the higher chakras in the body are spiritually connected, and the midpoint is the heart chakra. So we need to be balanced there. We need to be centered in the heart, and then we need to activate the higher chakras, but centered in the heart. And we need to get to the crown, Kronos. See, Kronos is always sitting at the top. The two malefics are always at the top. Mars is the ruler of Aries at the top, and Kronos is the ruler of the crown chakra at the top. So it turns out that Hessel's Mars, Jesus, and Saturn, Lucifer, Jesus, are our saviors. And Mars is the fire. Mars is the outer fire, Ra, and Saturn is the inner fire, El. So once we merge at the top, our Mars and our Saturn, our Ra, Mars being Ram backwards, Ra incarnated, that's the outer light, merging with the El interior light of El Saturn, both Jesus, both our saviors, because I am the light of the world. He doesn't say I'm the dark light or I am the light light. He says I am the light. Light is darkness. It's just a different degree of light. Hence, the light of the world is both Mars, Ra, Ram, and El, Saturn. Or you could take El to be Eve. EVE is ELE. Or Elios, the sun, the Elohim. It's all the Elohim. But when we're talking about interior light, there is no more interior than Saturn. He doesn't do exterior. That's Jupiter, the sun, Mars, those boys. But Saturn's a different kind of boy. He's got his feminine side activated. So he's all about, inner light. And so once we balance those, we have the chakra, the crown chakra activated, well, we come back to life through fire.
Absolutely. That's the phoenix rising from the ashes of that fire. And you got to pass through it. And you're going to be the one to determine how hot that fire burns. And aren't you glad that there are others of us that went through a literal hellstorm to bring this information to the rest of our consciousness, because you matter that much. And the only thing is, I would just like to think that others other points of you matter as much as you do to me. And that's all it boils down to. We must be our brother's witness. People are finally getting it, and this whole thing about the witness is exactly what is killing the Admiralty Courts dead. That's why the flags are not...
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn. You're listening to Santos Bonacci live on Syncretism here on criticalmassradio.co.uk. As above and so below is the holy science you need to know, astrotheology, because now it's our turn.
Ta-da! Welcome to Saturday night, Katie Bitchrand night, which is not so much a Bitchrand anymore. Oh my, what a time lateral shift we have done today. I can't even begin to start to describe the shift that has occurred today. Some of you are probably noticing it. More astute of you will notice it. I gotta tell you, it's just been mind-blowing. I was listening to, while I got back a little bit later than I thought to get the fire going so that I can sit back and have a fireside chat with all you guys. And, of course, the magnanimous Santos Bonacci is joining us as well. How are you, Santo?
Wonderful. Yourself?
Over the moon. What are the odds? Yep. Pretty good. So, where do I want to begin? That's the problem with these overloading overloads that are overloading the overloads. It's constant. So I'm listening to, of course, I listen to everything as it is now, as it applies to me now, and only to me now, because everything else is illusion. It looks very real, feels very real. Yeah. You guys are pretty real, but you're still just figments of my imagination, just like I'm a figment of yours. It's kind of how it works here, and I got to tell you, the video that was shared today was Man Overboard, one of Bill Donohue's. And as I was listening through that, what I'm looking for are the confirmations of where I am at. It's not what I have to do now. It's what I'm ahead of the curve now. And I'm constantly seeing things as confirmation. Like I did a card spread last night and I went through it. And what the card spread actually did was confirm everything that I've passed through, because I look at it from the perspective of, have I solved that yet? Okay, I solved that. Now I go to the next card and I go, have I solved that yet? And I take a long, hard look at it and go, and here's the treat of it. If I haven't, I can see it immediately because I'm looking for it. Okay, so I just still need to do that. Got it? So once you have the realizations, then it's done. The contract is over, because that's how spiritual contracts work. And C can make an S sound, so it's spiritual contract, spiritual contrast. So we're going to get real anagogic on your asses tonight. So you feel like playing, Santo?
For sure. That's what I'm here for.
I know. It's great. Oh, wow. How is the weather down under? Should be warming up right now.
Great. Hot day yesterday. Really nice summer day. Today's a bit cooler, but as I've pointed out since October, there have not been chemtrails over Melbourne skies. I watch every day. There might be one or two here and there, but that is a big shift that has gone on here. I remember the skies before October. They were just putrid, filthy.
Well, I see there's
chemtrails.
Yeah, there's the proof of your lateral time shift. I was in Fountain today, and this is why I need to do a little video on this to show people how the lateral, how you move laterally to create your stairway to heaven. And it's basically building every positive upon every positive upon every positive. And so when I observe things, I observe them neutrally. Not so that they do not affect me emotionally, because as soon as something is emotional, it creates an emotional charge, which is energy. So if you can get emotionally charged into a negative energy, that's what's going to keep manifesting in your negative reality. So until you can look at something that you may not have liked from the extremely and only grateful perspective, you will continue to spiral in that linear timeline. Only those that I'm working with in my timeline are the ones that are getting to see this, where everyone else is at effect to it. Now, I did want to mention there was something about some other global settlement that's going to come through in the next day or two. Okay, it's another COINTELPRO, and it says it's only going to last a few days, and all that tells me is the game's over. Okay? I got to tell you guys, anyone that is still buying into things like global settlement, Nasara, Opt, any of these dragnet operations, that is what's going to rot your spirit. That's why they're called Ka-rots. Okay? That is going to totally destroy you spiritually. And that's okay. If you want that, I grant your wish. I don't care what you wish for. I'm going to grant it. Because I will not trespass on your right to have an experience. And if you want that experience, that's your free will choice, and I'm going to observe it. And I'm just going to keep moving lateral on my timeline so I find a better version of you, an awakened version of you, where we all go together, right? We go together on this. We all do this together. None are left behind at all. So we have to get mindful of that. And this is why I dispel all of the negative energies that keep getting thrown at, myself, not for me, they don't come at me anymore, but for anyone that has any negative, I had to be allegorically and literally shredded to get this. And I'll tell you this right now, everyone out there, you're all going to go through your own form of a crucifixion. And that's the only thing that holds most people back, because in the back of your mind, you know you're going to have to in order to achieve this consciousness. There is going to be a form of crucifixion. Some is going to be greater than others. In my case, my whole life had to be shredded in the span of about 14 months. And I'm talking everything to nothing in 14 months. And I'm the one the judge bowed to. What does that tell you? Well, I'll tell you what it tells you, and this is why I have the utmost respect for those that have stood their ground, have stood in the face of it all, had their lives shredded because they were willing to pass through the fires of truth to get to the other side, to say, good, now that I got all that shit burned off me, I'm the phoenix rising from that ash. And that's what we're doing at this table. So, take whatever steps you need to take, but you better take them. If you want freedom, you haven't got a choice. You do. You can stay in the paradigm of meat stick, beat up meat stick, or you can grow up with the rest of us, because it's your job as the lighthouse for others to show them the way home. You have a greater obligation. And those that you let drown, and I'm not talking you have to go out and save them, no. You just need to be the example. Because I'll tell you this right now, when you are creating at that level, you are creating a magnetic void within you. They're going to come flocking to you anyway. That's what a lighthouse does. It attracts the ships. The ships, the minds from a distance can see it, and they can be guided by it. So that's what you need to be, just the guide. You don't go looking for others. They'll come to you. Don't worry, I assure you. They've come to me in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands. Okay? So just remember that. That's the power you wield. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make gods. Right? I'm here to empower myself through you as much as power myself through me. We do this together, one and all and one. That's the Three Musketeers, Yeah, so I need you to see how beautiful and powerful you are. You cannot have any vengeance in your mind or in your heart, because if you do, that vengeance will be brought back against you. So it's very simple. You just give the free will choice to those that wish to have that which they wish for. Like I said, and Chief, what's his name, Brian Larkin, will get his 72-hour notice. I'll give him his 3 days of darkness. I will give him the choice of, you got 72 hours to call me, to have a talk. And if you don't do that, that's fine too, because at that point, then I will initiate a private prosecution against you, the mayor, and every cop in the city, everyone that was ever involved, all the KRMC lawyers, all the mayors of Guelph, Newmarket, Toronto, Cambridge, Hamilton, everyone that was ever involved in coming against me will all be privately prosecuted. It only takes one or two at the beginning to make the others realize. So if it takes that to move the lateral timeline, I will do whatever needs to be done to get that done. And this is what's happening around the world right now, because we're running 100% on the victories now, because we are the witness. We are the whiteness returned. And we cannot have any blackness. We cannot have vengeance. And this is where you need to stand. And you're going to have to suck it up, because if you cannot do this, then you will keep getting dragged down into the quagmire, right? You'll still be the giggity character, okay? We don't want that. Or at least I don't. If that's what you want, great. That's not what I would do personally, but that's just me, you know. Call me God, if you will, right? So there's your choice. And all you have to do is change your mind on this, to change your intention, to finally come to terms with yourself. Yeah, I know these truths. I can do one of two things. I can stand in them, and it might be a little scary, or I can deny them, and I guarantee it's going to be terrifying. Choose. It's a simple choice. I choose life. I choose love. I choose eternity. I choose creation. I choose you. Won't you come along? Easy peasy.
Easy as. Easy as.
So, have we had any epiphanies, boys and girls? I've got Mike on the board, and I've got Lunchbox Fox. So, let's make this one open tonight, Santo? And let's have some fun and get all the rest of the gods at the table here, talking about their allegories, about their movies, how they're seeing them, and how beautiful things are changing for all of us. So, we got Mike, like I said, Mike and Lunchbox Fox. If you want to get in the call here, just hit 1 on your dial pad on the phone, or 1 on, just open the dial pad on Skype and hit 1 there. So, does that work for you, Santo?
Yeah, for sure.
Because, hey, guys, Santo and Santo, you're more than welcome to go on tomorrow night. Christopher's got his Unfuck Yourself system tomorrow night. So I get a Sunday night off, and I'm going to take it. I got lots of writing to do, and I have a funny feeling I'll be writing my last essays here. So, whoa, this is it is getting so exponential right now. It is beyond overwhelming. There is nothing that can pull me down. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, how's a beautiful quote from the master himself, Mr.
Things getting thrown at them. For me, those are just the last few things that need to be dispelled within me. I'm going to be the observer, okay? They don't need to happen to me to see it. It's in my reality because I'm God, and if I was God, and I am, that's what I would do. So look at things from the perspective of, oh, well, so-and-so's got an issue with this, so what is it in me that I need to fix to slide that lateral timeline? Because I got to fix it in me in order to fix that. Because that's my movie. This is how you direct your movie. And when you stay in the now, especially with Phoenician, where you create your own of Phoenician or definitions, and I want to get into vowels too, and the consonants. Like consonant means with sound mind. Okay, you probably heard that in the last will and testament. Yeah. Anyway, that's what consonant means. And the thing about vowels, as Bill so aptly pointed out, a vowel is a separation from the thoughts of the human mind. That's a vow. That's what a vow is. So if we're dealing with vowels, every vowel can sound like every other vowel. And I can prove that in many, many words, where an A can sound like an E, can sound like a U, can sound like an O, can sound like an I. Right? And don't forget, there are 3 consonant vowels, which are W, H, and Y. Isn't it funny that it spells Y? The only question we ever asked in the beginning, there was the word. So what was the word? Well, of course, it had to be a vowel and a consonant at the same time. So there you have W, H, and Y. And you might actually see Yahweh in there as well. Just rearrange it lexicogrammatically. So for me to cast spells now, I will be removing I've already removed the spell of the vowels that were being taught around so loosely. So now I will only deal in with sound mind, consonants. Is there another language on the planet that only uses consonants? They don't have any vowels? Maybe Hebrew?
Yep.
Yeah. So, as above, so below. So I'll work that out with English as well. So, going to write a paper on that tomorrow. Everything is happening just beautifully and according to plan. This is what happens when you accept all things. You simply accept things as being exactly what you need to get exactly to the timeline that you are so desirous of. We all want a better reality. We all want to be set free. And you cannot have vengeance and get there. I promise you. For me, it's about removing all forms of vengeance. It's about taking things. Excuse me. Let me give you an example. Now, this is where I grant wishes. You can have, door number 1 or door number 2. There's no door number 3. I don't give the third option, right? 2 strikes with me and you're out. But here it is. I am absolutely willing to grant you the wish, and the wish will be one of one side of the mirror or other. So I will grant the wish of, would you like to spend the rest of your days in jail in a linear timeline by your choice, or would you like to move along, accept the truth for what it is, and be part of the grand awakening of humanity on the other side? You see, I will grant either. It's not my choice. I have absolute bliss either way. Because I don't have an enemy any longer, and they have the choice, the free will. That's the free will choice. Do you want to go to heaven allegorically or hell allegorically? And whatever you do allegorically will manifest itself in the physical, literal. Now, to show people how to do this, how to cast magic spells, literally, okay, and I mean this. Shit, if I'm not proof enough for you, I don't know what it's going to take. But here it is. Work it out for yourself. You'll see this for yourself. Yesterday, what was the headline in Belfast? Crown Bar shuts down. Now, Santa, when you and I were talking about this first, you took it literally. Remember we were talking about this? That the Crown Bar shut down. And that's exactly the intent that I'm thinking from. But for the mainstream people, they would take that as, in Belfast, they say, oh, the pub downtown shut down because they haven't had a license since 2011. Well, for me, I look at it allegorically and say, yeah, the Crown Bar is shut down because they haven't had a license to practice law at all anyway. But 2011 works because I would put Dime Donuts that that license ran out during the week that I was there taking my dad's ashes home in 2011. So what we do then is we look at something literally, see it for what it is literally, but then see what it means to you allegorically according to your intent, what your game is all about. My game is about shutting down the Crown Bar and all of the slavery of mankind. That's my game. So it resonates with me at that level, just like it did with you, Santo. So that's your game too. We're on the same game page. So now that we see it allegorically as what it means to us, now we put it back out into the literal, which is what we're doing right now. Yes, the Crown Bar has shut down, and because they don't have licenses, never have. Interesting picture came up today on my Facebook. There's Obama standing at the podium in front of a bunch of people, no flags. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little time shift there, you think?
Oh, for sure.
So we're in a new lateral timeline. And for those that don't get what that means is the military flags, the slave flags have been removed. How cool is that?